West Nile. Now, in addition to that Dane County human case, DHS says horses in Dunn and Clark counties have also tested positive for the virus. And we're going to go down under. Well, at least in terms of wildlife. The actual story comes from the East Coast. An animal you'd be more likely to find in Australia was rescued from Coney Island.
The NYPD responded to reports of a person strolling down the boardwalk with a wallaby Friday night. Members of the 60th precinct arrived and found the exotic animal with its presumed owner. A sight to see for New Yorkers, but wallabies are illegal to own in most states, including New York. The animal was taken to the Animal Care Center of New York City. Its owner received a summons for possession of a wild marsupial. Jonathan O'Halloran, NBC News Radio, New York.
You know, very interesting note here on that citation. I think technically Casper's wife has been cited for that when he's been out in public. The ticket for
possession of a wild marsupial.
He gets heated at some of these games, that's all I'm saying. For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Starting off pretty comfortable with low 60s and dew points in the upper 50s. However, we'll have a mainly cloudy sky and dew points starting to creep up through the afternoon as our temperatures top out around 80. Plenty of heat and humidity heads our way this week, however, with excessive heat warnings in place from tomorrow morning until Wednesday night, as high temperatures may reach the mid to upper 90s and heat index values as high as 110. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Wake up and smell the magic that is Cabin Coffee in Altoona. From the moment you step in, you're embraced by the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the warmth of community. Their skilled baristas handcraft each cup with love, ensuring every sip is an experience worth savoring. Even if you're not a coffee person, they still have something for you. Embrace the comfort of a cabin getaway right in your favorite coffee shop. Visit Cabin Coffee today at 2922 Meadowlark Lane in Altoona. Elevate your coffee experience at Cabin Coffee.
It's time to say goodnight to that check engine light with the free AutoZone Fix Finder service. It'll help troubleshoot the likely cause of your light for free. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the show that features serious, thought-provoking sports talk and insightful sports commentary.
You knew it!
In other words, it's the show where they all talk a crap load about sports.
Let's go for it!
Now let's introduce your host, a man who lives and breathes and has a passion for sports. A man who breaks everything down in the sports world and gives you everything you need to know. Plus a bunch of stuff you probably don't need, but you'll still enjoy it.
You can't handle the truth.
Here is your host, Dan Kasper.
Prime time! Prime time!
What up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Monday, August 21st. Dan Kasper Show's on the air. Radio dials. You got a couple of those puppies. 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online. SportsTalk1051.com. You can stream it there. Your Google and Alexa home devices. Sports Talk app and the video stream. Also up and rolling on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Hopefully all had a fantastic weekend and you're ready to hit up a brand new work week here. We got lots to catch up on from a busy last few days here. Brew Crew picking up a series sweep over the Texas Rangers. Nice bounce back for the Crew after getting swept by the Dodgers. They come back and sweep the Texas Rangers on the road. So Brewers remaining 3 games ahead of the Cubs for first place in the division, 4 games ahead of the Reds. Right now, just 37 more games left to go here for the Crew. Put it that way when it's just 37 games. Holy moly. But nonetheless, 68 and 57 on the season, 11 games over 500 right now for the Crew. So they're Yeah, can they get up to 90 wins? You think? What, 68 right now? They'd have to get 22 out of their final 37. You think they can go 22 and 15? Is that the math? You all know me and math. That's not my strong suit there, but nonetheless, Brewers now entering that final quarter of the regular season here. So, but off day today for the Crew before they have two quick games against the Minnesota Twins down in Milwaukee. And then another off day here before they welcome the Padres to Milwaukee. Already kind of eyeing up. Not to look too far ahead. You don't want to have a letdown after having a fantastic series against the Rangers. But already kind of looking ahead to a week from today when they start that 3-game series against the Cubbies on the road in Wrigley over there. So we'll talk some baseball. We'll talk some Brew Crew. And I give a shout out to, even like Willie Adames, who had a good series and such. Rowdy Tellez is, excuse me, back with the ball club. Brewers putting up 6 runs in those 3 games. Shout out to the pitching as well, especially Adrian Hauser yesterday. Going toe-to-toe with Scherzer. Hauser picking up his 5th win on the season. Devin Williams, his 30th save on the season, too. So plenty of baseball to catch up on with the Brew Crew. Fantastic weekend for them. Also, I mean, hey, speaking of baseball, we got to give a couple of shout-outs here, too. Eau Claire A's 15U Babe Ruth team finishing 4th in the Babe Ruth World Series. Nice work, kiddos and coaches over there. The Tilden Tigers are your Wisconsin Baseball Association state champs. So, all right, double thumbs up over there, representing the Chippewa Valley. I like it. Nice work, everybody over there. So, plenty of baseball chatter to get to. Also, week 1 of the high school football season's in the books. I know 8-man's going to be starting up this week, but, you had Oakland Memorial, Fall Creek, Stanley Boyd, Mondovi, Elk Mound, just a few teams to pick up wins in week 1. So we're officially underway in that department there, too. I believe we're going to be catching up with Mr. Justice Cleveland starting next hour. If so, we'll do a deep dive into some of those games from Friday night and such, and maybe do a little quick look ahead to week 2 of the prep football season. And I know this is our good friend Brandon Bergen mentioned on Friday, too. This is kind of the week 2 where a lot of the other fall prep sports kind of kicks it into gear here as well. So it's officially underway here. So we'll get to that. We're going to chat some football coming up here. If you're doing a little countdown, 12 days away to the Badger football season opener against Buffalo. But the Packers on Saturday nights falling to the New England Patriots in their second preseason game. I'm sure you all know by now that game was suspended with about 10 minutes and change remaining after a scary injury to Patriots rookie corner Isaiah Bolden. Bolden taken off on a stretcher, spent the night in the hospital in Green Bay, was released yesterday morning. Reports are saying out there he has suffered a concussion. But both Bill Belichick and Matt LaFleur agreeing to call the game after 10 minutes with approval from the NFL after that scary hit. So with it being suspended and such, Packers, if you care about wins or losses when it comes to the preseason, Packers falling in that game. But a lot to catch up on with that game. What really stood out to you in that game, player-wise, or I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Position-wise, I mean, there's a few players that I really want to touch on from this game. Jordan Love's going to be one of them. A few other players, I should say, that kind of really stood out to me. And now we only got one more preseason game to go here on Saturday against the Seattle Seahawks. And this might be the last week. That'll be the last game for some of these players who are fighting for a spot to make their case. This is going to be their last opportunity to make their case before the Packers trim that roster down to 53 and get ready for week 1 on the 2nd, or excuse me, on the 10th, September 10th here. Regular season, week 1 against the Bears. So this is going to be the last week for some of these players to be suited up in a professional football uniform. Last week that they get, kind of on the job, trying to make a good impression to Goody and the coaching staff to be like, hey, you got to keep me on this roster, or at least maybe keep me on the practice squad for some of the younger guys out there. But I thought on Saturday that I've got a few, players on here I want to hit up on, and I thought made really good impressions. And I think there's a few position groups, to be honest with you, that are already signed, sealed, delivered, and that it's already set in stone. It's already set in stone for some of these position groups. But there are 4 position groups that I believe are the top 4 right now in terms of it's still kind of up in the air. In my opinion, it could be completely different within the walls of 1265 Lombardi Avenue. But I believe there are 4 position groups right now where jobs could still be on the line, still sort of up in the air, heading into the final preseason game on Saturday against the Seattle Seahawks. I think there's about 4 up there. I'm going to tell you my 4 coming up here in just a little bit too. It is Monday, so we'll do some studs and duds. Who are your studs and duds from the past weekend, or this past weekend? You can start to hit us up with some texts on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. Hit me up on Twitter at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports, or join us on the video stream and comment on there too. All right. Multiple different ways for you to join in on the conversation here this morning. So let's get into it here. I want to jump right into it. Let's chat a little football coming up here to open up things. Packers preseason game number 2 in the books. What stood out? Who stood out to you in that game? Did anybody kind of solidify maybe a spot for you, a job for you, somebody impress you, somebody really maybe disappoint you? And who are, or what are the 4 position groups that I think are still up in the air, in my opinion? Again, it can be completely different in the eyes of a general manager and what exactly the coaching staff is discussing over there. But the 4 position groups that I think are still, there's still some jobs to be won there. There's still some job battles going on. I'll tell you one of them already, and it's an easy one. To me, still the safeties outside of Darnell Savage. Who's 2? Who's 3? Who's 4? Are they going to keep 5? Where's it going? How is this kind of playing out here? Do we have a clear picture of what that safety group's going to look like? I don't know, to be honest. I think there's one player that's kind of rising up on the depth chart. I'll tell you who that is. But I think it's this to me has probably got to be one of the most difficult decisions on this roster for Goody and the Packers to try to figure out at this point. But I got a few other ones here too. So let's jump into it. All right, we'll take that first break and then get going here with the leadoff. Recapping Saturday night's performance. Also, there was a series that really stood out to me. Got me a little pumped up. A little bit more than usual for a preseason game. Tell you about that.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
When it comes to your health and well-being, trust the experts at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Their dedicated team of orthopedic specialists is there to help you regain your mobility, conquer pain, and get back to doing what you love. They offer personalized care that's as unique as you are. So don't let pain hold you back. Rediscover your strength with Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Just visit cvosm.com to get started. Your journey to a pain-free life begins at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. So add those human pawns, loved ones, and save money. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25 per line per month, plus taxes and fees. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com.
If you're like me and want sun, fun, and savings all in one in your final weeks of summer shopping, you've got to hurry to Kohl's. I just checked out their biggest clearance event of the season and was able to save up to 85% plus an extra 50% on sunny day essentials for the beach, backyard, and beyond. So what are you waiting for? Get to Kohl's and bring home the coolest finds for the hottest deals. You'll thank me later. Select styles. Offer ends August 22nd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. From fighting wildfires with air support, helping civilians in flooded neighborhoods, to delivering food and supplies to those who have lost everything, the Army National Guard always responds when disaster strikes. The Army National Guard also trains to be ever vigilant against threats, foreign and domestic. They protect our skies with missile defense weaponry. They secure our information, communications, and infrastructure with cybersecurity. And they protect us against chemical, biological, and radiological hazards with the civilian support team. The Army National Guard also stands ready to deploy and provide support for conflicts or humanitarian missions abroad. Join the Army National Guard and be there to respond, protect, and support your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Carpet City Flooring Center did it again, people. Some of the magic that they are able to do is pretty impressive. So, quick backstory. We had a couple of bedrooms that needed some new carpet pretty badly. We went to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire, and they helped us pick an awesome looking and feeling carpet. And a couple weeks later, installed the new carpet in our rooms. Now the bedrooms in our house look and feel completely different. In a good way. The instant you walk into these rooms, you are in a better mood. My 6-year-old is even spending more time in his room because of the carpet. He tells everyone he has a brand new bedroom now. So if you are in the need of a new floor for your home or office, why would you look anywhere else besides Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire? Trick question. You shouldn't be. So go visit our good friends Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire. The team at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire will help you find that new floor that looks good in your home and works perfect within your budget.
Do you remember all those times playing in the backyard and daydreaming of either playing on your favorite sports team or dreaming about all the goals you wanted to accomplish in life? We still do that today, and that's why we created Backyard Dreams. We want to help people accomplish their goals, chase their passions, and achieve their dreams. Whether someone's dream is to attend a ball game, someone needs a new pair of basketball shoes, or a Little League team needs help going to a tournament, we want to help, and we need your help as well to help our community. To learn more about Backyard Dreams, just visit sportstalk1051.com.
Calling all meal lovers, are you craving some quality cuts that make every meal a masterpiece? Well, look no further than Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. From succulent steaks to juicy burgers and mouth-watering brats, Mike's Star Market offers the finest selection of meats that'll tantalize those taste buds of yours. Their commitment to quality means you will always get the most flavorful products in the area. Don't settle for ordinary when you can shine like a star, baby. Visit Mike's Star Market today at 2238 Heimstead Road in Eau Claire. And check out their website at mikesstarmarket.com. Don't forget as well, we got a couple more weeks yet. That 1 month challenge we're putting out there to raise some money for Backyard Dreams. Go get your brats, your man cave light brats, your dill pickle and cheddar brats. Pick up some brats for football season, for the opener of bow season coming up here, to maybe take to camp or do some Labor Day weekend camping yourselves. Go pick up some brats from Mike's Star Market, because portions of the proceeds are going to Backyard Dreams. We're going to try to raise up to $500. Okay, $500 is the number, the goal here. So head over to Mike's Star Markets and pick up those brats so that we can raise some more money for Backyard Dreams. Big thanks to Mike's Star Market for helping us out and partnering with us on that. So we got B's mom chiming in here. Shout out to G-Man for the mojo and the sweep of the Rangers. Everyone stayed cool this week. And then G-Man ended up texting a little bit earlier too, saying, Captain, B's mom was awesome, saying that the Brewers will sweep the Rangers. Way to go, Brewers. The Pack did the right thing. I have to go with A.J. Dillon. Go, Pack, go. That's from G-Man this morning. All right, let's jump into it. Let's rewind the tape here a little bit and kind of go back to Saturday night. Who or what stood out to you from the game, that second preseason game? First up, I wanna chat a little Jordan Love here, because I'm sure that's where everybody is going to be kind of focusing on every preseason game. We only got one more left, but even in the regular season game. So for what it's worth, if you are a believer might be a little strong, but if you like Pro Football Focus grades, or you think that's a good indicator, Pro Football Focus did give Jordan Love the third highest offensive grade for the Packers in that game. Your top five was Romeo Doubs, John Runyon Jr., Jordan Love, Malik Heath, and Sean Clifford. The game started off with bad snap. Packers started off with the ball, the bad snap, which is something that has been going on in camp, mini camp, OTAs, training camp, some snap issues, and I think that's part of the reason too why there was chatter. You've seen other guys like Zach Tom getting some reps at center. For whatever reason, there's been some issues with the snaps and fumbled snaps there. So nonetheless, that's how the Packers started off their offensive drive. Second drive, meh. But that third drive with Jordan Love in the offense is kind of what got me a little pumped up. It was kind of like one of those moments, or one of those series or drives that you have in the regular season, or where you're like, all right, let's go. That gets you pumped up. It was that drive. And the highlight of the drive was the catch, the throw to Romeo Doubs on the sideline, 42 yards, initially was called incomplete. Matt LaFleur throws out the red challenge flag there. Ends up Doubs did get his feet inbounds, and it was a catch. I mean, that's a fantastic play by Romeo Doubs. But there's a couple more plays in that drive that I'm like, all right. That was just like, usually I don't say, give a little whoop or a little fist pump or anything like that during a preseason game, but I did after the conclusion of that drive, which resulted in a touchdown, which I'll get here in a second. But after that, it was, Jordan Love had the 11-yard scamper, the scramble, goes down. Late hit from the Patriots. Love gets up, does a little jog there. Offensive line comes in, has his back. A little bit of a scuffle. And there was some scuffling going on throughout the whole week between these two teams. But then the next, couple plays later on, get the safety blitz from the Patriots. A.J. Dillon with a nice block. And I know Jalen Mills was a little low there, but A.J. Dillon keeps him on the ground. Jordan Love doesn't really show any panic. Little subtle movements with his feet within the pocket. Hits Jaden Reed. Tight throw. Great catch by Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed gets in for the touchdown. It was like that drive was like, all right. All right, got me a little pumped up. Big play on the sideline, big catch. Jordan Love. The offensive line coming to the backing of Jordan Love. Tight throw to Jaden Reed, staying calm in the pocket with the safety blitz over there, trusting A.J. Dillon to have his back to pick up that block there. I loved that series. Loved it. Just got me pumped up. So that was like, okay, maybe that's something to build upon. I don't know. But I had to They were going to make the roster here, but I think they really maybe solidified themselves on the depth chart, maybe a little bit higher, maybe moved up a little bit more. And one of them I want to start off with is Walker, the left tackle, got the start at left tackle for the Packers. Now, I've been one to say I believe Josh Nijman is going to be the starting left tackle starting next year for the Packers. I might be wrong on that. It wouldn't be the first time and it won't be the last time on that because right now, the second-year man, he's Rasheed Walker. It sure looks like he's taken over as the primary backup left tackle for David Bakhtiari when the season starts. Has taken that over from Josh Nijman. Now maybe it's part of the plan to just really focus Josh Nijman on the right tackle position over there. But Rasheed Walker had a fantastic night. In fact, the entire offensive line didn't allow a single pressure. No pressures were credited towards for the New England Patriots against the Packers. That's fantastic. Tip of the cap to the entire offensive line for the Packers there. But Rasheed Walker, now I think he was going to make the team, but I think he's a dude now when you factor in the moving up on the depth chart and practice reps and now his performance in preseason games, he's your primary backup left tackle. And Josh Nijman is now probably your primary backup right tackle. I'm going to get to the offensive line here because I still think there's some question marks heading into this final preseason game. But Rasheed Walker is a guy that you got to tip your cap to. He's been having a fantastic couple weeks for sure, but a really good training camp. Guy you probably maybe heard a little bit about, but start paying attention a little bit more to Walker over there. Staying on the offensive side of things, Malik Heath, man. I mean, this guy, we mentioned he was the fourth highest graded Packers player according to Pro Football Focus. He's caught all 5 of his targets for 75 yards on 18 routes. Some contested catches. This guy, if he hasn't locked up a spot yet, I know he's an undrafted kid, but I look at this wide receiving depth chart and I look at how do you not have a spot for Malik Heath right now on that depth chart. Another fantastic game for Malik Heath. The first game, he made some catches, made some nice catches, but it was highlighted by his blocking skills, and then he follows it up by showcasing his skills on the receiving end here. To me, Malik Heath has got a spot on this roster. I don't know how you can keep him off, and I don't know how you would necessarily try to, expose him to waivers on cut day just to try to get him on your practice squad. I think he deserves a spot on this roster. Defensively, I got to give a shout out to a couple of these, or I should say a few defensive players here. I'm going to start it off with Kingsley, a.k.a. JJ Inagbare. That man had himself a game on Saturday night. First, displaying the power on one of his sacks. The one arm, I mean, literally just pushing back the right tackle with one arm, gets the sack. Another gets another sack, creates a fumble, recovers the fumble. Inagbare was the highest graded, and it wasn't even close, highest graded Packers defender in the game, according to Pro Football Focus, 96.4. The next closest person was 80.4, and he's another player I'm going to bring up here in just a second. 96.4. 2 pressures, both sacks, 8 pass rushing snaps. He's probably going to be one of the highest graded players this week. You look at the depth at your edge rushing position for Green Bay right now. Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith are going to be your 1-2s. You've got to find a way now to put JJ out there. Kingsley, whatever we're going to call him. Some are calling him JJ. Some of the writers are. Some of the other ones are calling him Kingsley. Let's just call him Inagbare, or whatever. This guy had a fantastic game. Fantastic game. And he's kind of making the case, hey, going to have to find some snaps for me in the regular season. I mean, he displayed it multiple different ways. Power, speed, bend. Got to give that guy a lot of credit. And sticking, with the edge rushers, I'm sure a lot of people are like, what about Van Ness? First round pick, right? Maybe you didn't hear his name called a whole lot in that Patriots game. And he had a quiet preseason debut, in the first game against the Bengals. A little bit better in this game. I wouldn't say he necessarily exploded. He didn't have a performance like Kingsley did by any means. But he was credited with the pressure, had a couple stops, just played 17 snaps, and his Pro Football Focus grade was actually the sixth best on the Packers defense. So it may seem like, he had a quiet night compared to a guy like Kingsley and such. But again, if you are a believer in Pro Football Focus grades that look more at, what they've done on the field instead of necessarily box scores, he had the 6th highest grade defensively for the Packers. So hopefully something to build upon. Start stacking that. But right now, Kingsley's the 3rd edge rusher. And it's not Lucas Van Ness. It's not Justin Hollins. And Hollins, in fact, had one of the highest grades too. He was the 4th highest grade defensively. But right now, I think you got to put Kingsley as your 3rd edge rusher over there. This defensive line, this is where I'm going to go with my next picks here. But this defensive line, I think this group, it's signed, sealed, delivered. We know the 5 guys. We know the 5 guys that are going to make up the depth chart for this group. Kenny Clark, duh. Devontae Wyatt, duh. TJ Slayton's going to be your nose tackle. But the last 2 spots are going to come from a couple of late pick rookies who have been having a good camp and a good preseason. Carl Brooks had himself a game. He was a second-rated player on there. Couple pressures, strong against the run. Probably saw him in the backfield a couple times. Carl Brooks is going to be a guy that, Matt LaFleur kind of mentioned it too. You're going to have to find snaps for the guy. You're going to have to, get him on the field. Carl Brooks, a late pick, has looked like he's been a fantastic selection. Now, I know it's preseason, and I'm trying to, cool the Jets here a little bit, and, we'll see how regular season plays out and how they do out there. But between Carl Brooks and what Colby Wooden, 4th-round pick, what they've provided from the defensive line standpoint so far in training camp and in these games, this group's locked up, signed, sealed, delivered. Unless they decide to keep a 6th defensive lineman, you've got your top 5. You've got your top 5, in my opinion, already locked up for the green and gold. And Carl Brooks and Colby Wooden have been some nice surprises so far. Now we'll see how it transitions into the regular season, obviously. But those two guys, got to give them a lot of credit. It's the one thing I've always said that I've always wanted with the defensive line. I want a rotation. I want depth. You look at some of the best defensive lines across the NFL. They got depth. You can rotate guys in. You can keep guys fresh. And we've wanted help for Kenny Clark for how long, right? We've wanted help for Kenny Clark for how long? Will he finally get it this year? We'll see when the games actually matter here. But these youngsters right now, they look pretty darn solid. Gotta give them credit. They look pretty darn good right now. And before we get into the position groups that I think are still up in the air at this point for Green Bay, been hard on them, and rightfully so, because the consistency factor just hasn't been there. You got to give credit to Anders Carlson. Hitting that big kick, 52 yards before the half. Got to give him credit. Hit a couple of PATs. You listen to Goody and his presser that he had last week. You listen to Rich Bisaccia. It sure sounds like they ain't going to bring in another kicker. And nothing changed from that standpoint on Saturday. Carlson helped his case a little bit more. Got to give the kid credit. He hit that big kick in a quick 2-minute drive. Sean Clifford, again, tip of the cap to him for manufacturing that drive there. But got to give him credit. Got to give him credit. Now, hopefully this is something he, gets a little bit more confidence going here. And, it's going to be growing pains, though, I think, with Carlson this year, with a rookie kicker. It's going to be some frustration, no doubt about it, but sure sounds like Green Bay is going to be sticking with him this year. So those are just a few. I mean, a few of the players that really popped out to me, but you can look at Wilson too. The running back started off strong again for Green Bay in that game. Is he doing enough? Has he done enough for Green Bay to carry 3 running backs on their initial roster, or do they feel like, we're just going to carry 2 and still take advantage of that new practice squad rule, game day activations where they can activate one right before game day? I'm sure a lot of it's going to depend on if they've got enough roster spots. It's not necessarily going to probably come down to, Wilson and like Patrick Taylor, between another running back. It might come down to Wilson and maybe another corner or a wide receiver or an offensive lineman or something like that. But has Wilson done enough for the Packers to be like, we can't afford to throw him out on waivers and have somebody potentially claim him? I don't know. And maybe they feel confident enough in Patrick Taylor, since they're very familiar with him. He's been around for the last few years, that if they do lose out on Wilson, well, then they got Patrick Taylor. But there are, as we head into the final week here, training camp's going to be wrapping up. Final preseason game coming up on Saturday against the Seahawks. I believe there are 4 legit, possibly 5. I'm kind of going back and forth on this one, but I believe there are 4 legit positions that are still kind of up in the air in terms of depth, in terms of where there's still some job openings left. I already told you one, and it's the safeties. And I think that's the clear and obvious one. I don't think necessarily anybody has ran away with that spot next to Darnell Savage, but there's a few others. There's a few others there. So let's take a quick break. And I think this is going to be a big week and a big game coming up for these final position groups. We'll tell you who they are after these quick words.
180!
Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Do you believe that everyone deserves a safe and decent place to call home? At Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity, they share this belief and work tirelessly to make it a reality. Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit organization dedicated to building homes and communities for families in need. With the help of generous donors, dedicated volunteers, and partnerships with local communities, they're able to bring hope and stability to those who need it most. Imagine the joy on a family's face as they step foot into their new home, a home that they've worked alongside volunteers to build. It's a life-changing moment that fills hearts with gratitude and hope for a brighter future. But we need your help. Whether you can spare your time, donate funds, or offer your skills, every contribution counts. Together, we can make a lasting impact. Be a part of something greater than yourself. Visit cvh4h.org or stop by the Restore to learn more. Together, let's build homes, build hope, and build a better future for families in need. Because everyone deserves a place to call home.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. From fighting wildfires with air support, helping civilians in flooded neighborhoods, to delivering food and supplies to those who have lost everything, the Army National Guard always responds when disaster strikes. The Army National Guard also trains to be ever vigilant against threats, foreign and domestic. They protect our skies with missile defense weaponry. They secure our information, communications, and infrastructure with cybersecurity. And they protect us against chemical, biological, and radiological hazards with the civilian support team. The Army National Guard also stands ready to deploy and provide support for conflicts or humanitarian missions abroad. Join the Army National Guard and be there to respond, protect, and support your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you're like me and want sun, fun, and savings all in one in your final weeks of summer shopping, you've got to hurry to Kohl's. I just checked out their biggest clearance event of the season and was able to save up to 85% plus an extra 50% on sunny day essentials for the beach, backyard, and beyond. So what are you waiting for? Get to Kohl's and bring home the coolest finds for the hottest deals. You'll thank me later. Select styles. Offer ends August 22nd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 biggie bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 biggie bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, August 25th, with the Cranky Buzzard. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
As an emergency medical technician, I hope motorists can remember these 4 life-saving words. Buckle up, phones down. It means wear a seatbelt, every seat, every trip. And when driving, stay focused on the road ahead. Protect yourself, spare your family, and emergency responders from needless trauma.
Do your part to help us move towards 0 deaths on Wisconsin roads. A safety message, sponsored by the U.S. and Wisconsin DOTs.
If Culligan isn't treating your home's water, you likely have water problems all around you, like hard-to-clean chalky residue on your shower, faucets, and bath, stains around your sink drains, spots on your dishes and glassware, plus dull, dried-out hair and skin, and problems you don't see, like scaly buildup in the water heater and pipes. But have no fear, you're in the clear with Culligan Products and Service. For all your residential and commercial water filtration needs,
visit CulliganH2O.com for your local Culligan water dealer.
The latest sports news, scores, opinion, and commentary. If that's not enough, you should seek professional help. The Dan Kasper Show.
Broke in the new man cave with the preseason game Saturday night. Hudson and I did. So think we got everything set up. Got to do a couple more things over there. But again, big thanks to the awesome people over at Carpet City Flooring Center. We needed a new floor down there. It was bad. It was in rough shape. Went to Carpet City Flooring Center. They came over, gave some ideas, had a vision for this thing. Ryan, the installer, came in, did a fantastic job. And attention to detail. I mean, there's attention to detail. There was because just to give you a little bit of a quick background here. So whoever our previous owners, whoever did the downstairs before, they messed up. They kind of cut some corners and didn't do the greatest jobs of updating or fixing some stuff up. And so Carpet City Flooring Center, they came in. I was expecting, new floor, new carpets, and all that sort of stuff. But it was the attention to detail. There was some trim underneath one of the cabinets that I just noticed for the first time the other day. I'm like, holy moly, they put something under there, because that was just bare wood over there. It was the attention to detail that Carpet City Flooring Center put into this project for us. That was one of the big things that stood out to me. And I mean, they were there. They helped pick out the styles, what worked within the budget. And performance-wise, it looks fantastic down there. Huts now spends a lot of time down there, more time than usual. So now my wife's probably going to be spending more time down there too, which is the man cave, which I don't know if it's a good thing or not. Don't tell her I said that. But again, big thanks to Carpet City Flooring Center. We got that video I'm working on to kind of do a little before and after project. But if you are in need of new flooring, a new flooring project, whether it's in your bedroom, we've gotten new carpet put in the bedrooms from them, your stairs, your home, your office, kitchen, wherever it may be. Seriously, look no further than Carpet City Flooring Center. From when you go into the store, they're going to work with you, work within your budget, find what works with you, and then their install team, fantastic too. Again, big thanks to Ryan, the installer, for working his butt off down there, because I know it wasn't the easiest project in the world. So, but we're ready. I think we're getting close to unveiling it for the world out there. So, really awesome, really awesome. We're getting close. Hudson and I have been working the last few days to put everything back, but I think we're there. I think we're getting close. All right, final week. Final training camp week, preseason game, final preseason game coming up on Saturday. These are the 4 position groups that I think are still kind of up in the air. Jobs could still be on the line. The easy one, safeties. Outside of Darnell Savage, who's going to be the other starting safety? Are they actually going to have a starting safety, or maybe it's going to be a rotation thing over there? Jonathan Owens, Rudy Ford, Tarvarius Moore. I think he got a little banged up on Saturday night. Don't look now, but Anthony Johnson Jr., the 7th-round rookie, maybe climbing up a little bit on the depth chart there too. Had a good play, but then followed up with a bad angle on one of the Patriots' touchdowns there. But maybe that rookie can make a play on there. I thought maybe he was going to be kind of in danger of being cut and maybe put on a practice squad. And that still could be the case, but I don't know. Then we know Dallin Levitt's going to make the team for special teams, and he's a safety, so that's going to take up a spot. So how is the safety group going to look like? Is Rasul Douglas really going to be a starting safety with this group? This is something that I think is going to come down to the wire, and potentially one of the most difficult decisions that Goody and this Packers coaching staff has to make is, how is this safety group going to play out? Who are they going to keep? Because I feel like there's probably going to be a cut, maybe even 2 cuts that are going to be tough ones. But this is going to be a huge week and a huge final preseason game for some of these guys who are on that line to make a lasting impression, to win a job, to win one of these jobs. So easily safety. No, I don't think anybody has ran away with a job. It's been open. It's been a competition since OTAs and mini camps and training camp and such. And I don't think anybody has necessarily ran away with that job at this point. Safeties. Number 2, backup interior offensive line. The starting 5 it's done. There's no debates anymore. Myers, there was a little bit, but it sure seems like Green Bay is set with Josh Myers as their starting center. Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Myers, John Runyon Jr. has had a good camp. Zach Thomas, your starting right tackle. That your starting five is signed, sealed, delivered. Your backup tackles are signed, sealed, delivered. We just talked about Walker. He's going to be your backup left tackle. Yash Nyman, he's going to be your backup right tackle. They got good tackle depth. But when it comes to the interior offensive line, who are they going to be? Sean Ryan, Jake Hansen, Royce Newman. Get one of those spots, even though he's been very inconsistent, but he's got a lot of playing experience, even some starting experience from his rookie year from a couple years ago. Where is that interior offensive line depth going to come from? Who is it going to be? That, to me, I mean, you're probably looking at what? 2 more, possibly 3 more positions on there? Because we know they're 5, plus their top 2 tackles, that's 7. Do they keep 9, maybe 10? We'll see how it all plays out. But I think the interior, the backup interior offensive line, and I'm talking guards and centers over there, that's still maybe a little bit up in the air for a job or 2. Third on my list is that last 2 spots at wide receiver. Watson, Dobbs, Jaden Reed are your top 3 locks. Samari Toure is probably going to make the team, but I'm not ready to put him in a lock category quite yet. Then you're looking at, okay, probably 2 more. Dontavian Wicks, who was a rookie 5th rounder, was having a good camp. He just had a hamstring injury in this game. I don't know if that will affect decisions or not. I believe Malik Heath has played well enough to earn a spot on this roster. So when you look at the wide receivers, is that maybe already signed, sealed, delivered when we have, I got my 3 locks, and then you add in Samari, Dontavian, and Malik Heath? Yeah, maybe it is already locked up. But can a guy like Grant DeBose, who Matt LaFleur is very high on, got his first action, and could he make a late run at a spot? 7th round pick, but could he make a late run at that spot, at one of those spots? But I think in this final week here, in this final preseason game coming up here, look at that last spot, maybe last 2 spots at wide receiver. I've been saying for the last couple weeks, I'm really excited about the potential of this young talent for these pass catching groups when I factor in the rookie tight ends and these wide receivers. It may not all click this year. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to still be some growing pains, especially with the younger guys here. But the potential for these receivers to grow together, to grow with Jordan Love, it has me really excited. I think there's a lot of positives to come from this group. And then, number 4, probably the last spot, maybe last 2 spots when it comes to the corners. Carrington Valentine, I didn't have his greatest game on Saturday. Made a couple good plays, but, flagged for pass interference a couple times, gave up a touchdown there too. He's going to make the team still. Carrington's still going to make the team. It's Jair. It's Rasul. Let's still factor Rasul in as a corner. It's Keyshawn Nixon. It's Carrington Valentine. It sure seems like Eric Stokes at this point is going to open the season on the PUP list, unless Green Bay in this final week or so activates him. But it sure seems like they're gonna open the season with Eric Stokes on the PUP list. So that opens up another spot. You don't have to factor in a spot for Eric Stokes if he does open up the season on the PUP list, if they don't activate him here in the next couple weeks. So if it's Jair, it's Rasul, it's Nixon, it's Carrington Valentine, maybe 2 more corner spots. Who is it going to be? And a lot of that might depend on, too, special teams play. Who are guys that have been playing extremely well on special teams? Got a guy like Keandre Thomas who had himself a good game on Saturday night. Did he kind of move up into that? But that last spot, those last 2 spots from that corner position, It might come down to who's the better special teams player, special teams coverage. But I think, when we get to that game Saturday, pay attention to the corner spot. If I add a fifth one on there, maybe it is a little bit of a punting competition here. Pat O'Donnell is the veteran over there, but Whalen's been getting plenty of opportunities. Got more opportunities, and Saturday was the holder for Anders Carlson's 52-yarder. Could Daniel Whalen take the job from the veteran Pat O'Donnell? In practice, I would say he's been better in practice than we've seen in the games, because in practice he's been having these booming kicks with amazing hang time. Haven't really seen those transition to the games on a consistent level yet. But considering Green Bay is going with a younger route, with a lot of positions on their roster this year, could they decide to go with that with the punting game too? Or do they elect to go with a veteran punter to kind of maybe help Anders Carlson for this season? I feel like they're still going to go with Pat O'Donnell because of that. Maybe Whalen's a guy that they could keep on the practice squad. But I guess I wouldn't be completely surprised if they go with a brand new punter this year either. And maybe one more for you position group to watch. Maybe inside linebacker. We know Devondre and Quay Walker, the guys. Isaiah McDuffie's going to be the next backup. But could Tariq Carpenter make a play for that 4 spot? I feel like Green Bay's probably going to carry 4 inside linebackers, maybe 5. If they keep 5, I think Tariq Carpenter is going to be that guy. But if it's 4, is it Eric Wilson, who special teams play again, factors into that decision? Possibly, maybe. But to me, inside linebacker is a little bit more settled out. Defensive line is all set. You got your 5. Quarterbacks, they're all set. They're carrying 2. They're carrying 2 under 53. Mago's probably going to be, and then you got that emergency quarterback. Remember the new rule that they passed, which is no big surprise after what happened with the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. All right. Shot clock's going to cut me off here. Coming up next hour, we're going to talk some baseball. Fantastic weekend for the Brew Crew. Nice comeback weekend for the Brewers as they swept the Texas Rangers. 37 more games to go left in this regular season. Brewers holding on to a 3-game lead in the division over the Cubbies. They're up 4 over the Reds right now. Off day today for the Crew as they get set for a quick 2-game series against the Twins. We'll talk some baseball. We'll get back to some more football talk as well. Don't forget Studs and Duds coming up just past 8 o'clock. You guys can play along with Studs and Duds if you'd like. Just hit us up with those texts, tweets, Facebook, video stream comments. News updates. We'll be back in a few minutes.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Good morning. Here's what we're learning today. You may have seen this on socials. We'll continue to give you details as Boyceville officers and officials in the area look for help in the search for a missing teen. They say Caleb Olson has been missing since Friday. He left his house with a backpack. Investigators say they did get a report of him in the area near Glenwood City yesterday. Photos and info online, 715newsroom.com. Meanwhile, charges are pending for a 16-year-old accused of running down an 18-year-old girl at an underage drinking party in Sawyer County. This happened over the weekend, Saturday morning, near the town of Sand Lake. The Sawyer County Sheriff's Office says a 16-year-old suspect had been at the party, and you can find more information in a press release online, 715newsroom.com. As we look to the political stage, somebody noticeably not behind a podium. As it turns out, President Trump will not be coming our way. The former president announced on his Truth Social platform that he will not take part in the Republican presidential debate in Milwaukee that is scheduled for Wednesday this week, saying the public already knows who he is. The New York Times reported that Trump was looking to sit down for an interview with Tucker Carlson instead. The former president's decision clears the way for other candidates to try to cut into the lead when they appear on the Milwaukee stage, and they'll be behind the podiums for the political action on Wednesday. As we look into other headlines from Mother Nature, you've been hearing some of those forecast details from Mike D'Andrea. It's going to heat up. Just a heads up there, as it looks like it could be the hottest week of the year for a lot of people across Wisconsin. As we look to Dane County, somebody in that area is the first person to get West Nile this year. The State Department of Health Services did say that an individual in Dane County is the first confirmed case for 2023, and nobody's saying exactly how they came down with West Nile. Now, in addition to that Dane County human case, DHS says horses in Dunn and Clark counties have also tested positive for the virus. And we're going to go down under. Well, at least in terms of wildlife. The actual story comes from the East Coast. An animal you'd be more likely to find in Australia was rescued from Coney Island.
The NYPD responded to reports of a person strolling down the boardwalk with a wallaby Friday night. Members of the 60th precinct arrived and found the exotic animal with its presumed owner, a sight to see for New Yorkers, but wallabies are illegal to own in most states, including New York. The animal was taken to the Animal Care Center of New York City. Its owner received a summons for possession of a wild marsupial. Jonathan O'Halloran, NBC News Radio, New York.
You know, very interesting note here on that citation. I think technically Casper's wife has been cited for that when he's been out in public. His ticket for
possession of a wild marsupial.
He gets heated at some of these games, that's all I'm saying. For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Starting off pretty comfortable with low 60s and dew points in the upper 50s. However, we'll have a mainly cloudy sky and dew points starting to creep up through the afternoon as our temperatures top out around 80. Plenty of heat and humidity heads our way this week, however, with excessive heat warnings in place from tomorrow morning until Wednesday night, as high temperatures may reach the mid to upper 90s and heat index values as high as 110. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Good morning. It's time to take a look at some farm news on Sports Talk 105.1. Have you ever wondered how many people use cell phones versus laptops or computers? Well, 70% of Wisconsin farmers own or use a desktop or laptop. That's 1 percentage point higher than the U.S. percentage, according to the latest USDA report. The National Agricultural Statistics Services report says farmers using their smartphones for their farm business was at 73%. That's 9 percentage points below the national percentage. 83% of Wisconsin farmers have internet access. Now that's up 1 point from 2021. Cell service is the most common method of accessing the internet on Wisconsin farms, while 65% of farmers are accessing the internet utilizing those methods. The proportion of Wisconsin farms using broadband connection was the second most common method at 56%, while satellite service was at 16%. That was the third most common way for farmers to access the internet. It may be that time of year for the green and gold, but it's also that time of year for cranberries. Wisconsin's cranberry growers are expecting a 4.97 million barrel crop this year, based on U.S. Cranberry Marketing Committee crop projections. If the projections stay on course, Wisconsin will remain the largest cranberry producer in the world. The CMC forecast marks the 29th year that Wisconsin has led the nation in cranberry production. The other largest cranberry growing states are Massachusetts, New Jersey, Oregon, and Washington. Total crop is expected to be at 8.17 million barrels. Now, last year, the final crop came in at 4.84 million barrels, which means Wisconsin grows and harvests approximately 60% of the nation's supply. The U.S. exports to Colombia, the UK, the European Union, China, Mexico, and South Korea. That's a look at some of your farm news on Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Kristen Smith.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Crank it up.
Are you ready to take? Get up! He's on his way. He's our man. The man, the myth, the legend. That's Dan.
And now, The Dan Kasper Show.
Second hour kicking off right now on this Monday morning. Big thanks for tuning in and making us a part of your brand new work week here. Coming up this hour, we're going to get to some baseball talk. Brew Crew with a fantastic weekend sweeping the Texas Rangers. Had a brain fart there for a quick second, but sweeping the Texas Rangers after getting swept by the Dodgers. So nice bounce back from the Crew over there. So we'll hit that up coming up in just a little bit. Also, we're going to hear from Justice Cleveland here in just a few minutes. But let's get things rolling here this morning with some sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by Ansay Associates. Not a whole lot here. 1929, the Chicago Cardinals traveled out of town for training camp. They were the first professional football team to do that. Laura Baugh, at the age of 16, won the United States Women's Amateur Golf Tournament. She was the youngest winner in the history of the tournament. Let's go with Barry Bonds in 2006, hit his 725th career home run. 2009, the Cowboys played their first game at their new stadium in Arlington, Texas. During the preseason game against the Titans kicker hit the scoreboard hanging in the center of the stadium. I remember that for whatever reason. Those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day. Again, brought to you by Ansay Associates. All right. He is the man. He is the myth. He is the legend. That is Mr. Justice Cleveland. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning, everybody out there. Doing great.
Back in the kind of the regular routine with high school football officially getting underway last week for you guys?
Yeah, it's the official busy time has started again.
Mm-hmm.
The short summer
yeah
goes by real quick, and yeah, it was really nice to get out there and get some high school football on some not too crazy of hot days like we're going to have this week.
Exactly. No doubt about it. To kind of kick it off, Justice, with week one and kind of recapping, I know we had some local. Was the maybe one big surprise Regis getting blanked by Prescott, in your opinion, from last weekend?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, obviously you have your defending state champions there and Regis going out there at Prescott. Prescott gave them a really tough game last year as well. So I think they knew they were in for a tough test. And yeah, for Regis, it just was a tough start to the season. I think they'll be able to bounce back. They got a lot of talent on that team. And I think it was just kind of a little hiccup to start the year and give them a little motivation here as they get towards week two. But yeah, I mean, it's always a surprise when you see a team like that get shut out, which does not happen often in the Regis history. So yeah, I think they'll be fine. I think they'll be able to bounce back. But yeah, that was probably one of the bigger surprises of week one.
Yeah, Memorial, I know, picked up a victory as well. We had other teams like Stanley Boyd defeating Cadets. I know our friend Brandon Berg was at that game. Mondovi, Elk Mound all picking up wins as well. Did anything kind of stand out to you from week one, either the Thursday night games or the Friday night games for week one?
Well, that Friday night game for Memorial, what a comeback for them. They were down 16-6 in the fourth quarter, scored with 2 minutes to go, missed the 2-point conversions. They're down 16-12, got the onside kickback, drove down, scored again to take the 18-16 lead. And then Logan, to their credit, drove all the way down. Unfortunately, missed a field goal as time expired. So an exciting start to the season for Memorial to get out of there. Improbable win and start the season 1-0. I think game I was at on Friday, that was Fall Creek in Altoona, and just watching Fall Creek's offense, how they were clicking out there. Unfortunately, Bo Volrath, one of their best athletes all around, you throw him out there in basketball as well as one of the best, suffered what looked to be a foot injury. Don't know exactly what his status is, but obviously your thoughts are with him because he is one of the best players there in that town. So that Tyler Mickelson has that offense looking pretty good so far. So yeah, I mean, it was a fun first week, and it's hard to it's like anything, judging from that first week, NFL even, it's hard what you're exactly going to get, but yeah, it was a very energetic first week, and we see a lot more. I think we're seeing a lot more spread offense now than we've ever seen in high school football. But that's the trend of football anywhere right now.
Right, exactly. And I know we got 8-man officially starts this week with their first games at the end of this week, I believe. I think that's what Brandon said on Friday, too.
Yes.
So,
Yep. So, yeah, you got McDonald, a bunch of teams around here, Thorpe as well, Owen Withy, New Auburn. So, yeah, that's just to name a few that'll be getting started here coming up this week.
I know last night, speaking of Brandon, you and Brandon were checking out. We did a little shout out for them in the first hour, but shout out to the Tilden Tigers for Wisconsin Baseball Association's state champs yesterday for some baseball.
It was fun to sit there with Brandon in the afternoon and watch the game and watch Tilden. I would say almost dominate there as they took on the Everest Merchants and get the state title. Good for them because last year they finished the season runner-up in the WBA tournament, and then this year they finished runner-up in the CRBL. So they called it kind of their it was kind of like a revenge tour for them as they were able to defeat Osseo, the Merchants, there in the semifinals to get to the finals, and then were able to defeat Everest there to get the title. So congratulations to them. I mean, just a fun group of guys. A lot of guys that me and Brandon both covered when they were in high school. You've got the plethora of Steinmetz on the team, which was real fun. It's funny because it was the second inning. Me and Brandon were talking about how there's 4 Steinmetz in a row in the lineup because it's 2 at the end of the lineup and then 2 at the beginning of the lineup. And I'm like, well, there's a possible Steinmetz grand slam in there if possible.
Ooh.
And they didn't get the grand slam, but they did get a 2-run RBI. And it was all Steinmetz on base. So if they didn't have a game tracker for it, but if they did, you'd be sitting at home like, did somebody break the game tracker here?
It's kind of like a bingo card too, almost a little bit there too. So
exactly. So congratulations to them. They well earned. Ryan Byer and his team, great job there, and obviously a lot of history with the families that have played, the Byers and the Steinmetz. The dads having won a title in 2004, and now the kids. So they no more bragging rights held by the dad because now they've even won up with them.
Ooh, I like that. Sticking with baseball too, another shout out, but the Eau Claire A's 15U Babe Ruth team finishing 4th at the World Series over there too. I know we talked about it on Friday with their comeback win, walk-off win, to in one of their games before the weekend, but a fantastic showing for those youngsters over there.
Yes, I mean, the future of Eau Claire baseball right there. We'll be seeing those guys on a lot of these teams coming up in the next year or two. And it just tells you again how great the baseball is in this area. Every year the A's have a team that's capable of winning a national title, and the 15U team made that run. I mean, that comeback, yeah. I mean, that was a crazy, that's bottom of the 7th to score 5 runs without any outs too. They just went up there and scored 5 straight runs to get the win there. Was quite the task with that comeback win for them. Unfortunately, it fell short the next 2 games, but still to finish 4th in the nation for all the Babe Ruth teams in that age group, that is just amazing. And congratulations to them. And we'll be seeing more of the A's, I know, coming up this next year as well.
Oh yeah, and like you mentioned too, a lot of those youngsters maybe making the jump up to high school here very, very soon too. So I'm sure we'll see a lot of those kiddos still, making the waves in the sports world over there.
Yeah,
too.
I mean that's one thing I feel like I'm so lucky is that you get a lot of these youth teams that make these runs. You hear a name, and the next thing you know, they're on Memorial, they're on, they could be on Altoona, they could be on all these other teams and North and sometimes Elk Mound, and it's really cool. And congratulations to them.
Definitely. Was this the week too, just more the fall prep sports kind of get underway, like volleyball? I know tennis has kind of gone underway. Golf has already, been underway for a little bit here. But this the week too where a lot of these other games are kind of starting to get into really full-on action?
Yes. Yep. Volleyball, a lot of them had scrimmages this past weekend, and they're going to be moving up to starting games this week, as will soccer too, I believe. So this is what we're in full swing. I mean, school's starting. Some of the schools starting, this next week. The Eau Claire schools will start in a week and a half. So it is the season to start getting busy, but that's what it's about. It's all about that.
Yep, exactly. So big thanks to JC and the EC there for breaking down the local stuff there. Staying with baseball here for a few minutes, Justice. Brewers with a fantastic weekend, a nice bounce back for the Crew after getting swept by the Dodgers. They swept the Texas Rangers Yesterday, Adrian Hauser going toe-to-toe with Scherzer, and Hauser picking up the win. So the offense kind of bouncing or popping its head up for the Crew this past week, including Willie Adames there. Just 37 more games left to go. We're in the final quarter of the regular season here, Justice. 11 games over 500. They hold a 3-game lead over the Cubs. Not to look too far ahead, but Brewers and Cubs start the 3-game series a week from today. But, I mean, you can't bounce back any better after getting swept by the Dodgers than going to Texas without an off day and picking up 3 straight wins over there.
Yeah, to me, that was just the improbable thing. Is like you think you come off of that Dodgers series, and you're like, oh boy, that was a rough one where everything just went against them. Just every little strange thing that could happen. 2 catchers interferences in 1 inning, kind of thing, and then all of a sudden you bounce back against one of the hottest offenses in the league, and do it in a clutch, fashion. It seemed like that, especially that first game of the series, it looked like Texas had their number. You're like, oh, here we go again. And then they Santana comes up clutch and gets that go-ahead home run. And that was something that had been missing maybe for the Brewers. But the offense really actually clicked this series, which is nice to see because obviously that's been the issue, not just this year, but in years past too. So, and then the pitching was there. And, I think the first game was when they won 9-8.
Yeah.
So that one, I mean, you just barely snuck in the win, but after that, everything looked good. I mean, you get an Adrian Hauser start of 6, goes 5 innings, just gives up 1 run. That's unexpected. So, I mean, the fact that you're seeing the starting pitching click again, and Freddie Peralta, holy cow! It's the 2 faces of Freddie Peralta.
Right.
We saw it early in the year where it's like, oh man, here he is, struggling. He has been just lights out and confident and having fun up there, and it's been pretty amazing. And we can't mention that the Brewers did everything yesterday in the first 3 innings against Max Scherzer. They rattled Max Scherzer, which does not happen often. So a big series win for them, and yeah, it shows that they're going to be able to compete with these playoff teams.
You mentioned Freddie Peralta. You look at his last 7 starts here, Justice. The guy is 5-1 with a 2.38 ERA. It sure seems like he's getting hot at the right time here, too, as we're entering in this final quarter of the regular season and hopefully into the postseason. You get a hot Freddie Peralta to add in with Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff, because you're probably going to go to a 4-man rotation when you get to the postseason. Wade Miley, being the 4th over there. I mean, can Freddie Peralta be kind of that wild card, a difference maker for this Crew if they happen to get in the postseason?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I remember us talking, early in the season. We're just like, well, Freddie's probably just your number 3, almost at times number 4 starter, just because of how inconsistent he was at the beginning of the season. But man, he has just turned it around, and he's averaging double-digit strikeouts.
Yeah,
like these last 5 starts. I mean, it has been just outstanding how something has started to click. Because we know, he's one of those guys has the talent to do it. He just at times it just isn't there. But I mean, for him now to be the strikeout leader on the team too, 168 Ks so far this season and 133 innings pitched. That's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. That ratio is pretty darn good over there.
Yeah. So I mean, the key is if they can get all these guys back, and was it Eric Lauer who had to start yesterday down in the minors?
I think so. Yeah,
and had a good start there. You get this depth that they could have going into the playoffs. Obviously, with your playoff roster, you have to figure out who you want to keep and who you don't. But they have enough the potential there with some really good depth too. So I think this is going to be, it bodes well for this team. Obviously, there's still 37 games to go, and the lead's only 3, so there's a lot that can be decided here. But man, if they can stay hot in September and get the playoff berth, this team they could make some noise. You have the pitching. And anytime you have pitching, you have a chance.
I know it's just, a series, but hopefully this is something that they can build upon. Willie Adames, who has had such, I would say by his standards, and I think if you'd ask him, a down year, but you look at what, he did in this series against Texas. He did go hitless yesterday, did have an RBI, but, Saturday night had 4 hits. Friday against Texas, he had 3 hits. Then Carlos Santana, he had a hit, at least a hit in each of these games. I mean, if these 2 guys can turn it around and be a little bit more consistent at the plate, doesn't that just kind of like really, I mean, that's got the bar is probably already set pretty low, but be a huge boost for this offensive line, especially in the middle of that lineup because you got Yelich and Contreras at the top there.
Yeah, I mean, I was going through his game logs, and there was multiple stretches where it took Willie Adames double-digit games to get around 4 hits or 6 hits.
Yeah.
And he did that in 2 games, getting those 7 hits. So, I mean, that for him, it just tells you he's a guy who should be hitting around 250, I think. I think even last year, I think 233 was probably pretty low for him. But hopefully, yeah, he's figuring out. And what can you say about Carlos Santana? I mean, the expectations I think were pretty low. Bringing him in as your deadline guy, it's like, okay, well, it's a first baseman, but I think he's been doing a good job. I mean, those clutch hits again, the one that he came up with there on Friday night to put them in the lead. I think he has 6 home runs now in 20 games with the Brewers. You'll take that. I know it's you'd rather have him hitting over 181. But that's what you're kind of getting with Carlos Santana, is a guy who's going to hit some pop. So that acquisition so far looks good. Even Cano has been.
How did he make that catch the other day? Did you see that? I don't know how they did that.
So, I think that's one thing we overlook is that outfield defense for that team is whoever they throw out there, there's really not a drop off for the outfield defense, and that's saving runs. So. Yeah, I think this team, again, if the injury, you knock on wood for them, if the injuries work out for them where they don't have everybody's healthy, they could make some noise in the playoffs. I mean, they're going to be the underdog, I think, no matter who they play in the playoffs, but I think they could make some noise.
Go back to that Max Scherzer thing. The Brewers have faced Scherzer 3 times this year, and they're 3-0 against Max Scherzer this year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer, and somehow the Brewers, for once, have his number.
Especially given how the offense has been this year, they're 3-0 against Max Scherzer.
Right. Oh, exactly. And that's kind of the weird thing about this Brewers team. I know that they took the loss against Clayton Kershaw earlier in the week, but they haven't been horrible against some of the more elite pitchers. Now they've been horrible against some less than elite pitchers at times too, but yeah, like to go out there and do that to Max Scherzer, who was entering the game 12-4, and I don't know if he's going to win a Cy Young this year, but still just another potential close to 20-win season for him. It speaks volumes about how this team, when they're hot, what they can do.
Yeah, Brewers too. I'm just kind of looking at 7-3 in their last 10. They are 35-36, so they're just 1 game under teams with a 500 or better record. But this National League wild card chase is just going to be, I think it's going to be nuts. You've got Philly and San Francisco and the Cubs holding on to spots right now, but Arizona, Cincy, and Miami are all just 1 game back from a wild card spot. So far from being done. And then you look at the American League, Tampa, Houston, Seattle holding on to spots. Seattle jumping up in there after winning 6 in a row. Toronto now just a half game back. Boston still only 3 back from a wild card spot too. So sure seems like these wild card chases for entering this final quarter of the season is going to be pretty darn crazy coming up here.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, having the wild card to keep these, a lot of these fan bases, especially if you were over in the West. I mean, the Dodgers with an 11-game lead, it'd be over.
Yep.
But yeah, now you're able to battle, and yeah, like you said, I mean, they have this many teams close, and you never know. Like a San Diego who's 6 games out, they get hot, they could be right back in that too. We saw, it's been like Cincy.
Yeah.
Somehow Cincinnati, that team has been so erratic lately, but they still hang in there. They go on a 4-game losing streak, they come back, win 5, go on another 2-game losing streak, then win another 2. So yeah, I mean, for the Brewers to have this lead, it's nice. They probably wish they had the Twins cushion there in the AL Central with, I don't know. The Twins can pretty much put it in cruise control at this point, and I think they're going to take that Central title because the Guardians aren't doing anything to come take it away.
No, 6 up now for the Twins. So Twins, if you want to take a break in these next 2 games, we'd appreciate that. So how about your border rival there? So
hey, they're to the Twins' credit, they are the only team with a plus differential in runs in their division. Now the Brewers are +5 right now, but that tends to go up and down depending on.
That could change in a game. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, but they're in the positive. They're in the green, finally in the green and not in the red there. So we'll take it.
Exactly. Yep.
We'll take it. So But not to look too far ahead, but man, a week from today, starting that series against the Cubbies, that could be, well, I mean, they start the series against the Cubs and then they play them one more time, the final series of the regular season. It's going to be some big time games coming up here between the Brewers and Cubs.
Oh yeah, and don't shy away from the World Series potential matchup here with the Twins this week.
That's right. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I'd be all about that.
The series that Major League Baseball really wants.
Exactly right. No kidding, man.
You could just see the officials sitting there like, oh no.
Right.
The Midwest ratings would be through the roof, though.
Absolutely.
A lot of hot dishes being served during the broadcasts.
So. Perfect time of the year, though, too, right? October,
right,
and in November. So come on now, let's embrace it. Let's take.
I would love it.
Right. Let's take a quick break here. Then coming up, we'll get JC's thoughts on the green and gold here. Preseason game number 2 in the books. Final week of training camp. Final preseason game coming up this Saturday. So we'll take that quick break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. From fighting wildfires with air support, helping civilians in flooded neighborhoods, to delivering food and supplies to those who have lost everything, the Army National Guard always responds when the Army National Guard also trains to be ever vigilant against threats, foreign and domestic. They protect our skies with missile defense weaponry. They secure our information, communications, and infrastructure with cybersecurity. And they protect us against chemical, biological, and radiological hazards with the civilian support team. The Army National Guard also stands ready to deploy and provide support for conflicts or humanitarian missions abroad. Join the Army National Guard and be there to respond, protect, and support your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Volunteers, listen up. The Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity is looking for volunteers to help with some of their upcoming projects. Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity is staying busy these days. They are currently building a home in Eau Claire, plus they have plans to build homes in Chippewa Falls, Menominee, and Cumberland, and they need volunteers to help out with their home building projects. No experience is needed to volunteer. Habitat for Humanity will teach you everything you need to know. If you would also like to donate to help out the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity, you can easily do that as well. Your donation can help change the lives of people within our community. At Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity, they live by their commitment to bring people together to build homes, neighborhoods, and self-reliance. So if you are interested or want to learn more about volunteering or donating to the Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity, just visit cvh4h.org. That's cvh4h.org.
From local town councils to Capitol Hill, agents who are realtors are standing up for what's right. We're here protecting property rights. Here advocating for the issues that affect our neighborhoods. Here championing fair and equitable housing for all. Because we are realtors, bound by a code of ethics, driven to serve our communities. We're here for it all. Here for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are. From local town councils to Capitol Hill, agents who are realtors are standing up for what's right. We're here protecting property rights. Here advocating for the issues that affect our neighborhoods. Here championing fair and equitable housing for all. Because we are realtors, bound by a code of ethics, driven to serve our communities. We're here for it all. Here for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Believe it or not, but the calendar is telling us that we're getting closer to the fall sports season. Football, volleyball, cross country. So if you are an athlete or know of a fall athlete that has been dealing with an injury or dealing with pain before their season has begun, it's time to make that appointment with Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine today. All you have to do is simply visit cvosm.com to get started. Start living that pain-free, healthy life with the help from Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
I'd like to get real with you for a moment. All across the country and even in our town, there are people who have to go without. Perhaps even you, having to go without being able to hear parts of the Dan Kasper Show. It's tragic, but there is help. You can listen to segments from Dan's show and new content on the Man Cave podcast. Check it out for yourself on your favorite podcasting platform.
Coming up this Sunday, you can start to make your picks for our Pro Football Pick'em Challenge. We got some gift cards we're going to be giving away for the best picks, for the top winners and such. So make sure, if you're not already a member of our Sports Talk Insiders, you should be heading to sportstalk1051.com. Click on that win tab over there. It takes you like a few seconds to sign up. It's free, it's easy, it's simple. And then that way you will be able to make your picks each week and do a little bragging rights and maybe even win some prizes. So that'll officially open up. You'll see it if you go to our website now. It'll be on there. But they're not allowing you to make picks until the 27th over there, which, I mean, you don't want to probably make picks now in case something, knock on wood, happens with injuries or anything like that. But just to put it in the back of your minds, get ready to make some picks and sign up for our Sports Talk Insiders group. Available at sportstalk1051.com. All right. We only got one more preseason game left to go here, and then Packers are going to be opening up at Chicago on the 10th here. But going back to Saturday night, Packers falling to the Patriots in a shortened game, suspended with about 10 minutes and change to go after that very scary injury to Isaiah Bolden after taking a hit, I guess friendly fire, would you say, Justice? Because it was from his own teammates over there. But spent the night in a hospital in Green Bay, and it sounds like he suffered a concussion. But obviously, teams being extra cautious, and with it being a preseason game and 10 minutes left to go, Bill Belichick, Matt LaFleur both agreeing to call it at that point. I wouldn't be surprised if you hope situations don't arise like this, but I wouldn't be surprised if stuff like this happens in preseason games. You might see more of these games being called at that point.
Yeah, I mean, with it being a preseason game and, none of the stats really matter for anything other than, what you're trying to evaluate on film. I think it was a smart decision by both coaches there to just be like, yeah, there's no way you want to get these guys back out there after seeing something like that. So, yeah, I think it was the right decision to make. And like you said, with it being preseason, something like that happens again. I wouldn't be surprised too to see something like that happen. That decision to happen again, and again, I think they made the right one.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder too, like how much did it factor in, and maybe not at that point, but because those two teams had been practicing, 2 times against before that game, so I mean they were getting kind of like game like work in, before. I know there were some people saying, well, some of those younger guys maybe not getting work, but they were getting work in earlier in the week with their joint practices. I kind of wonder if that factored in a little bit there too.
Yeah, and that was my thinking too. Is like, okay, then they were physical practices from all the accounts that we saw, that they were really working against each other. So I think you got a lot of time to evaluate players during that against other teams, and with a game like that, yeah. I mean, obviously you would, if you're the younger players, the guys that are trying to break through on the roster, it's tough, but if you're doing the work in practice, it's going to shine through as well.
Mm-hmm. What have been your impressions of Jordan Love 2 games in so far?
I like what I saw from him against the Patriots. To go 5 for 8 against the starting, how much is it starting? It's preseason, you don't know exactly, what mixture you're getting there against the Patriots. But what was the number one defense there this week? I think it was fine. I liked. You can't blame him for the snap. I think people somehow that became his fault, which I'm not an Aaron snap is his fault.
I agree. And that's
I'm
something
sure.
that Myers apparently has been battling, throughout all OTAs and mini camps. Has just been bad snaps. I think that's why you've been seeing, talk about a different center or Zach Tom getting reps over there earlier.
Right. And if you do that in a game like that, yeah, that's definitely, I mean, that's not going to reflect well at all. But for him to come back on that next drive and some of the passes and seeing the touch on that pass, especially the Dubs, Romeo there, that catch on the sidelines. So first of all, what a catch.
Yeah.
I mean, I did not think he made it. And then they went to the review and like, oh, wow. I mean, that was a great sign right there. You get that chemistry down with those guys. And then the whole drive.
That drive got me so pumped up, Justice.
Yep.
I think, it started with that catch and then, his scramble, then the late hit, him getting jawed up, jawing back, but then the offensive line having his back and then that touchdown catch. That was just like one of those drives where like if it was a regular season, I'd be pumped up saying, all right, let's go, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that shows you the potential right there with that drive of what this offense can do when they're clicking. And they definitely were clicking on that drive. So, I mean, it's such a small sample size that we've really seen, but I like what I'm seeing. I like seeing the growth. I think, I mean, what can you remember from Aaron Rodgers' first preseason? He was getting picked apart every little throw he threw because he was replacing Brett Favre. But the same thing's happening with Jordan Love. And then you go on Twitter yesterday and there's people like, well, why is Sean Clifford not the next starter for the? I'm like, let's pump the brakes a bit here, guys. I think the defense that Sean Clifford was going against was a little different than what Jordan Love was going against in that game. But I mean, credit to Sean Clifford. Without there being a veteran there, that guy's doing what he has to do to try to get that backup job.
I think he hit it on the head there, Justice, because that was a topic that a lot of people were wondering, should they have brought a veteran quarterback in to back up Jordan Love? But the way Sean Clifford's playing, and I give him credit too for not playing it safe. Like he is being aggressive for a rookie to go out there and to be aggressive and to make those tight throws, those deep throws. And then, in his first game coming back from turnovers and just not really changing his mindset. I give Clifford a lot of credit. There's no way he should be in a conversation to be a starter right now with Jordan Love or a quarterback controversy. But I feel like the way he's playing also lets Green Bay feel a little bit more confident. Like, okay, we don't have to necessarily, go out there and get a veteran or anything like that. I think that's a credit to Sean Clifford.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the only person that maybe the shortened game hurt a little bit was Alex Magoo,
right?
Who probably would have come in and at least had a drive or two to try to do something like that. But yeah, I mean, I would suspect that they'll bring somebody in as a security blanket, maybe late after these teams break camp, or if there's a veteran out there. Because I don't know, are the you might know this better than me. Are the practice squad rules kind of similar to what they've been the last few years, where they could, hide a guy down there?
Yeah, and then because they just passed that rule that I kind of in the offseason, which I kind of wondered if they were going to do something different after the 49ers NFC Championship game. So now they got the emergency quarterback rule where teams can designate an emergency third quarterback from their active inactive list who can be activated during a game if both primary quarterbacks are unable. So I think that's like probably going to be Alex Magoo, to be honest with you, unless they bring somebody else in at this point. Yeah. But so I think that's where, and that kind of goes to the running back thing there too, because with those game day activations off practice squad, are they going to carry 3 running backs, or are they just going to carry 2 like they started off last year a little bit? So there's a little strategy more involved in all this.
Right. I mean, and we've seen, it's weird, but the problems the Packers have on offense is they have a lot of players vying for not many jobs on the offense right now. And, running back, I mean, you're set really with the 2 guys at top with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, but it's just like, who's going to be that third guy? Will they be active come game 1?
Right.
But and it's not a horrible problem to have, though. Knowing who your top 2 guys are going to be is a big thing in this league. So that and a consistent depth there at running back, which you don't see anymore. I mean, these teams are just going through running backs so haphazardly now. It seems like to have 2 veteran running backs like the Packers have. I think that's big for Jordan Love. to know that these guys know where they're going to be and where they need to be. I think that's great. And obviously there's not a whole lot of wiggle room on the wide receiver front from, the guys that you have there of who's going to bust through the guys they've already had the last couple of years. I think obviously tight end, we're still looking to see, Luke Musgrave and Tucker Kraft kind of become the two guys there. So yeah, I mean, there's still some stuff that's going to need to be decided here in this final game, but I don't know. I like what I'm seeing on the offensive side. Again, this is just preseason, so the sample size is hard to judge, but I think I don't think we're seeing anything near what Coach LaFleur has up his sleeve once we get to the regular season. I think we're seeing a little bit of it, but I think he's got a little more strategery he's got planned right now.
Looking at these young pass catchers, I'm trying to kind of, for my expectations here a little bit, but the young talent that they have there, it probably won't click this year and it won't all come together, but I like the potential. When you factor in the tight ends and these younger receivers like Malik Heath and, Jaden Reed, combining with Watson and Romeo Dobbs, who I think is going to have a great year in his second year, for them to grow together and then to grow with Jordan Love has me really excited for the next couple of years coming up here.
Oh, I agree. And the thing about Watson and Dobbs is they don't feel like guys who are in their second year. Like I think last year, I mean, they both had their up, especially, Watson, the amount that he went through in his rookie year. I think he's come out just like a more mature player. You listen to him talk, he does not seem like this guy he feels like a veteran, a guy who's been through it, which is great. I mean, you love to see that growth. And if he keeps that up and he has that work ethic, the sky's the limit for him, especially with the speed he has. If he keeps it going and if he can do what he did at the end of last season, that's a superstar in the making right there. And then Romeo Doubs it's kind of felt like a veteran from day one.
Yeah.
Like he came into camp and he's just been working hard and it just kept ascending the ranks. So you throw in these other younger guys with them, and if they can get the tight end position to get a lot more production than they've had, my goodness, it's I think it's going to be fun. And we forget that AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are two very good pass catching running backs, especially Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is another wide receiver on the field if you need him to be. He's a very good wide receiver when they've lined him up out there. We've seen it. So I think there's little, nooks and crannies in this offense that we're going to see come out once it gets to the regular season.
I love that the first two games, it's as soon as Aaron Jones gets the ball, I mean, he's gotten the ball first every time. First game was a pass. His last one was a run. Then he's out. It's just one play. Then you're out, dude. You're done.
He's not in street clothes, right?
No.
He's out there getting it might be a small sample size, but hey, he's out there. That's leading as an example, and I think you need that because Aaron Jones to me is the veteran leader of that offense now. I would say David Bakhtiari on the line, but as the skill players go, I think Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, step up and be those leaders.
I totally agree, man. Totally agree. All right, we got to take a quick break. We're going to restart the Zoom here for the final 15 minutes with Mr. JC in the EC. So we'll do that right now. And while we restart everything, we'll take that quick break and finish up the second hour with Justice Cleveland, WEAU Sports Director Extraordinaire, after these quick words.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Dr. Logan Shepke from Shepke Chiropractic is joining me right now. And Logan, it sounds like you just want to give a nice thank you, shout out to some of your patients.
I do.
There.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The support we've had, going through the different stages of acquiring the Altoona office, and then now with the new child here. So really thankful for all the referrals I've been receiving, and the support from my existing patients. You guys have been awesome. So shout out to you guys.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And, looking at the calendar here quickly too, we got football coming up with those youngsters with camp, so it might be a good time to maybe make some appointments and get adjusted before camp and even during football season.
Absolutely, all ages. Yeah, get in, get yourself straight, and then hit it hard.
Yeah, definitely, and be safe out there too, right?
That's right.
Exactly. So, again, big thank you to everybody who's stopped by to Shepke Chiropractic, and if you want to make an appointment, where do they go to?
ShepkeChiropractic.com.
The waves were mighty and fierce as could be when my lady and I got lost at sea. We tossed and turned and we nearly drowned when my brave little boat went down.
Whoa, 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 no, none of that's true. You haven't had a date in a year or two. The sea was calm and the sky was clear and you crashed right into the pier.
Yeah, fine.
Accidents don't just happen in sea shanties, so Progressive Boat Insurance has you covered. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you can save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Covered subject to policy terms and not available for all boats or in all situations.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. The Army National Guard has taught me the value of showing respect to those I come in contact with each day. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed and accomplish the mission. Plus, the Army National Guard education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn how you too can live and serve part-time, close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union, the local Wisconsin team that's always rooting for you. Brewers and Avengers fans assemble on Tuesday, August 22nd for Marvel Superhero Night presented by Toyota. The crew hosts the Twins, and you'll get a Brewers branded Avengers hat with a special Superhero Night ticket. Get yours at brewers.com/theme nights. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today.
Picture this. You're surrounded by the serene beauty of the great outdoors, waiting patiently for your moment. It's not just a hobby, it's a passion. We're talking hunting. At Tilden Gun, they understand the thrill and excitement that comes with hunting, whether it's for deer, turkey, or duck. That's why they offer a wide range of high-quality firearms, ammunition, and accessories to help you make the most of your hunting experience. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned hunter, Tilden Gun will help you find the perfect firearm that suits your needs and preferences. But it's not just about the hunt. It's about the memories, the camaraderie, and the bond with nature. Tilden Gun is proud to be a part of your hunting journey, ensuring that you have the tools and equipment you need to make unforgettable memories in the great outdoors. Visit Tilden Gun in store at 12427 90th Avenue in Chippewa Falls or online at tildengun.com to explore their wide selection of firearms, ammunition, scopes, and hunting accessories. Be safe and best of luck in the great outdoors.
Here's a message just for the attorneys out there. So you passed the bar, joined a firm, or even built your own. Now are you finding out that you're doing more administration than actual law practice? Lexicon can help. Lexicon is a legal technology provider with over a decade of experience streamlining administrative tasks like timekeeping, billing, and more, so you can focus on maximizing billable hours and increasing client satisfaction. Call 855-4-LEXICON or visit lexiconservices.com/go to learn more.
He's smart, informed, entertaining, and he knows his sports. In other words, he's the kind of guy I'd like to settle down with in a small, cozy cabin in the woods. That is, if he was a woman with a case of cold ones. The Dan Kasper Show, weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
Coming up September 22nd, so a month from tomorrow, it's the Ultra Classic at Princeton Valley Golf Course. Two-person scramble, $50 per person. 9 holes, carts, all that good stuff. I've golfed the Ultra Classic a few times. I'll be there golfing as well, September 22nd. If you want to get your two-person team in, just give Princeton Valley Golf Course a call to register your team in, and do it quickly because that tends to fill up very, very quickly. So, again, put it on your calendar, September 22nd. It's a Friday. So if you need a permission note, maybe to skip work or something like that, Justice will write you one. I don't want to get in trouble, so Justice will write you one over
Yes.
there.
Dr. Justice Cleveland, which is
Exactly.
pretty. I'll have the notes.
September 22nd at Princeton Valley Golf Course for the Ultra Classic. Right. Speaking of golf, didn't we have? Was it the Wisconsin State Amateur Champ, or what was that about a week or two ago? That I saw
State Open.
State Open. That's what it was. Okay.
Yep, we had a few guys in contention from our area. Thomas Longbella, I believe, finished 7th from Chippewa Falls. You had Swavely from Hudson, one of the younger kids that were out there golfing, and was in the top 10 for most of the time. Then Matt Tolan, a guy who golfs plenty of times at Princeton Valley,
Yep,
was in contention there, and Tyler Leach from Spring Valley. So it was a good showing from our area. I can't remember if it was Harrison Otter who ended up winning it, but it was one of them. But yeah, and that was at Century World, so it had to be a big thrill for those guys to get to play that course.
Yeah,
for 4 rounds and in a competitive nature. So, and then yesterday, I mean, you had the BMW Championship, and my goodness, Victor Hovland turned into a machine there on the back 9 and roared up to take the win there as they get ready for the championship, the Tour Championship this week.
Yeah, you mentioned it with those names there too for the Open. A lot of familiar names we've heard a lot about over the last few years, especially in this area too. So
yeah,
man,
we talked about it with the
jealous.
baseball, like how good the baseball is. The golf around here, same thing. Just there's just been waves and waves of great golfers, and again, that speaks to how well the junior leagues are ran around here, and how every course embraces the younger players, and they just keep growing the game, and that is just awesome to see.
And especially because we are in Wisconsin too, Justice. The weather we know isn't always our friend during those seasons. How many times do we talk about it when we get to spring sports, whether they're going to start on time, conditions and all that. So you factor that in. These are like summer sports, and they're still, performing at a high level, I think is even more impressive.
Yeah, and I think it also, I mean, we've had the performance centers around the area, not just for, for baseball, but for golf. There's the ability now to play these sports year round is it's amazing. It's something that we didn't have when we were kids. If you wanted to hit a golf ball, you went into the gym and took out the wiffle ball.
Yep.
But most of the time, the clubs were gone for 5 months, or the bats were put in the closet for 5 months. So yeah, it speaks volumes how much has changed in the game in the last 20 some years.
You're exactly right. I mean, I remember for golf, it was the wiffle balls and like the turf mats in the gym, or I think it was like my last year, maybe last 2 years. We had it wasn't what they are now, but it almost looked like a batting cage, but it was like a cage, hit the driver off the tee. Just in the restricted study hall room, it was set up. So you'd go down during the study hall and do that.
Oh, nice.
There. Yeah. But
yeah, I mean, now with the simulators and just how realistic they are, because you can measure, they measure the launch, they measure the ball speed, they measure all that stuff now. You get kind of a realistic view of what your game can be for golf. It's amazing. And it's awesome for these younger players to keep being able to do that. Where, I'm sitting in my basement putting. That's my my training during the off season.
They need to come up though with like a bunker shot training sort of thing. I used to pretend the snow was that, but it doesn't quite do the same thing.
No, hitting out of snow is so difficult.
Yeah.
You think though the ball's just sitting there, and no, it's a whole different world. It's the fluffiest sand you'll ever play out of.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Are you going to be able to hopefully hit the course a few more times before, I hate to say it, but, later in the calendar year and that sort of thing?
It's coming. No, I a week. It's, with life and kids and, vacationing to see my, during the month of July was just, let's see everybody's relatives.
Right.
But I managed to get some golf out there. So it's been fun. I'm not going to brag. I'm just going to say I've been rebuilding my swing, I feel like, for the last 2 years, and it's finally starting to work. It's so crazy how quickly things can go with golf. You think you make one adjustment, the next thing you know, you can't hit a ball straight, which I've never really been able to do, but straight enough would be nice. So yeah, I love the sport. I'm not good by any means, but it's one of those. It's like fishing, hunting. Once it's in your blood,
yep,
you just can't get it out, and you just want more of it. So And that's what summers are for me. I love getting out there and hitting the links.
What is your? I don't know if I've ever asked you this before, but what is your so Wisconsin public course? Your like number one bucket list. Do you have one like public course in Wisconsin you'd love to play that you haven't yet?
Ooh, that's good. I mean, is Sand Valley considered a public
I was
course?
wondering if you were going to say Sand Valley. That was my first thought that you would say.
That's one that I've never got to play. I've never even been down there. I've just seen the pictures.
Yeah.
And that one really, I mean, I've been lucky enough to walk a lot of some of these courses. I've, if I haven't played like Black Wolf Run, I've never played, but man, it's a beautiful course when I'm down there for like state golf. And I got to, play at Erin Hills one time, which was also beautiful. But yeah, I would like to go down to Sand Valley and see that. And, there's so many great courses in this, not only the state, but even in our area. I mean, I've been over to Troy Byrne a few times just to watch high school, and I'd love to go play that too. But that's not to discount the area that we have here.
Right.
I mean, we're blessed with having some great courses around here that I, unfortunately rip up their fairways. But yeah, I love golfing in this area and just the community of golf that we have here in Eau Claire and just in the Chippewa Valley is great. And you're always seeing smiles, even, when people are having rough rounds. It's really fun to go out and just talk to people and play the game here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sand Valley, the thing is too, is like, it's so interesting to me to see like Sand Valley, because like on Twitter, you'll see like these national sports people like posting pictures. Like I know Trey Wingo for one has been there a few times. He'll post about it, or some random sports media person's like, yep, hit up Sand Valley. And I'm like, Jays, you don't even think of it. It's like these random celebrities just show up in golf over there.
What's your the one course just worldwide that you'd
worldwide? It's between Augusta and St. Andrews.
Those are the two I came. I'd throw Pebble Beach in there, but I feel like I would suffer so much from losing golf balls at Pebble Beach. But yeah, I think Augusta. I almost think St. Andrews would be the one, because I mean the chances of me ever getting over there and playing at St. Andrews are probably slim to none.
Yep.
But man, it would be great to go where the game started.
The history.
And
I'm a big history guy, so yeah, those two. And the thing is, like St. Andrews, doesn't it on TV? It's like, oh, it's wide open. It's all that. How hard could it be? Yet you see some of those scores, and it's like, okay, there's something obviously that we don't see on TV.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you're hitting. I don't doubt the amateurs have to hit the blind tee shots and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, just to have that chance. But yeah, everything looks a little more wide open on TV than you would get there, and you'd be like, oh, this is very much not wide open. So yeah, it would be fun.
Absolutely. Well, JC, I know the shot clock's going to cut me off here in about a minute. So really quick, do you know which kind of game? I know it's kind of early, but for week 2 or with 8-man football starting up, is there a game that you kind of already have your eye on this coming weekend for football on Friday night?
Well, I know it's going to be fun because the 2 Eau Claire Memorial and North are back in town to start their season. So I think you'll have Eau Claire Memorial will take on Central and North will take on Logan. So that'll be fun. And, just getting them back in town. It's kind of weird not having anybody at Carson Park.
Right.
For week 1, but we'll see it now. I'm sure they're gonna, the stands will be getting set up there quickly because they still had baseball going on with the WBA last weekend. So, yeah, I mean that to me that'll be a fun one. We'll see Augusta Fall Creek, another rivalry game for Fall Creek as well, as they just want to travel up and down the highway there against some rivals. So yeah, I mean there'll be plenty of good games, and yeah, can't wait for it for week 1.
Absolutely.
Prairie Farm Thorpe and some 8-man too.
Nice.
The Thorpe, you always got to shout out Thorpe.
Exactly. Brandon, if you're listening, you're welcome. So there you go. JC, great to catch up with you, buddy. Appreciate the time, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Okay, bud?
Sounds good. Everybody have a good week.
All right. Quick break. Studs and Duds coming up next.
286 CK Eau Claire. Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Good morning. Here's what we're learning today. You may have seen this on socials. We'll continue to give you details as Boyceville officers and officials in the area look for help in the search for a missing teen. They say Caleb Olson has been missing since Friday. He left his house with a backpack. Investigators say they did get a report of him in the area near Glenwood City yesterday. Photos and info online, 715newsroom.com. Meanwhile, charges are pending for a 16-year-old accused of running down an 18-year-old girl at an underage drinking party in Sawyer County. This happened over the weekend, Saturday morning, near the town of Sand Lake. The Sawyer County Sheriff's Office says a 16-year-old suspect had been at the party, and you can find more information in a press release online, 715newsroom.com. As we look to the political stage, somebody noticeably not behind a podium. As it turns out, President Trump will not be coming our way. The former president announced on his Truth Social platform that he will not take part in the Republican presidential debate in Milwaukee that is scheduled for Wednesday this week, saying the public already knows who he is. The New York Times reported that Trump was looking to sit down for an interview with Tucker Carlson instead. The former president's decision clears the way for other candidates to try to cut into the lead when they appear on the Milwaukee stage, and they'll be behind the podiums for the political action on Wednesday. As we look into other headlines from Mother Nature, you've been hearing some of those forecast details from Mike D'Andrea. It's going to heat up. Just a heads up there, as it looks like it could be the hottest week of the year for a lot of people across Wisconsin. As we look to Dane County, somebody in that area is the first person to get West Nile this year. The State Department of Health Services did say that an individual in Dane County is the first confirmed case for 2023, and nobody's saying exactly how they came down with West Nile. Now, in addition to that Dane County human case, DHS says horses in Dunn and Clark counties have also tested positive for the virus. And we're going to go down under. Well, at least in terms of wildlife. The actual story comes from the East Coast. An animal you'd be more likely to find in Australia was rescued from Coney Island.
The NYPD responded to reports of a person strolling down the boardwalk with a wallaby Friday night. Members of the 60th precinct arrived and found the exotic animal with its presumed owner, a sight to see for New Yorkers, but wallabies are illegal to own in most states, including New York. The animal was taken to the Animal Care Center of New York City. Its owner received a summons for possession of a wild marsupial. Jonathan O'Halloran, NBC News Radio, New York.
You know, very interesting note here on that citation. I think technically Kasper's wife has been cited for that when he's been out in public. A ticket for
possession of a wild marsupial.
He gets heated at some of these games, is all I'm saying. For Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Morgan McCarthy.
Starting off pretty comfortable with low 60s and dew points in the upper 50s. However, we'll have a mainly cloudy sky and dew points starting to creep up through the afternoon as our temperatures top out around 80. Plenty of heat and humidity heads our way this week, however, with excessive heat warnings in place from tomorrow morning until Wednesday night, as high temperatures may reach the mid to upper 90s and heat index values as high as 110. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
With Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles, you can choose the pair you want. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Let me ask you something. Did you name your firstborn after a... Yes. Did you spend your honeymoon going to a football game?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Do you spend most of your free time hanging out in your man cave? If you answered yes to all the above, then you, my friend, are a serious sports fan just like Dan.
Yes!
This is exactly where you belong. Sports talking and BSing is what we do best.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep!
So rise and grind, people, because the Dan Kasper Show is on the air.
You serious, Clark?
Right now.
Showtime! Woo!
Third and final hour kicking off on this Monday morning of August 21st. Dan Kasper Show's on the air. Radio dials, we got two of those, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also download the app, the Sports Talk app. Take us on the go wherever you may be. Download that puppy. Also, you've got your Alexa and Google home devices. Just open the Alexa app, go to the skills menu, and say search for Sports Talk 105.1 Eau Claire. enable that skill, then just tell Alexa, hey, I don't want to open it up for anybody right now because I'll say it if you're listening, you don't have it on the Alexa and all that. But all you have to say is play Sports Talk 105.1 Eau Claire. That's the key on there, is to say that Eau Claire at the end of it. Okay. Otherwise, you got the video stream also up and rolling on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Coming up this hour, we'll get back to some green and gold chat. Who or what stood out to you in Saturday night's game against the Patriots? Put on your scouting caps. Give us your scouting report. Any positives, any negatives from the game? Hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line, 715-830-1912. We'll get back to some more baseball talk as well with the Brewers sweeping the Texas Rangers. Off day today for the Crew for Craig Counsell's 53rd birthday. Happy birthday, Craig Counsell. No, they don't have the off day because of that. It just happens to work out. But nonetheless, Brewers 2-game series in Milwaukee starting tomorrow. Let's kick off this hour, though, as we usually do every Monday morning, with some studs and duds.
Who's the stud and who's the dud? You decide right now on the Dan Kasper Show.
Not going to have any studs from the Packers game. That doesn't mean that you guys can't have any studs from the football game. Just so we highlighted it and talked about it a little bit earlier, and we'll get back to that here in just a bit. But a couple of my other studs, mentioned them earlier in the first hour and the second hour, again with Justice. But again, it's worth bringing up here. The Eau Claire A's 15U Babe Ruth team finishing 4th in the Babe Ruth World Series. Stud performances from all the kids and the coaches and such. Congratulations. Also studs to the Tilden Tigers on your Wisconsin Baseball Association State Championship. So studs, got some baseball studs out there for the Eau Claire A's and the Tilden Tigers, keeping it a little bit more local over there. Duds, though, I'm going with the Yankees of New York. Yankees tying franchise's longest losing streak in 40-plus years. They just lost to the Boston Red Sox, but it tied the 95 club for the longest losing streak the franchise has suffered during the wild card era, which began in 1995. You look at this, I mean, the Yankees, holy moly, we talk about some of the most disappointing teams this season. For the longest time, it was Mets and it was Padres. Those were the top two on there. You got to put the Yankees in that discussion over here, too. You don't have the Yankees on there, then you're doing something wrong here. But they're 9 games out of a wild card spot right now, 60-64. They got a negative 27 run differential for a team that has like Aaron Judge. And I know Aaron Judge has been missing time. He's been banged up and all that. But, man, Yankees, 1-9 in their last 10. Losers of their last 8 in a row. Duds right now. Will there be changes? Aaron Boone, will he be gone? Brian Cashman, he's been sticking around for a long time. And I'm not a Yankees fan, but just kind of seeing stuff on the socials from other Yankees fans out there saying, get rid of the guy for the longest time. Will that actually happen? Who knows? But my duds, Yankees. So your studs and duds, you can play along if you'd like. Again, hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Before we get back to some more football talk here with the green and gold, don't forget to give me your scouting reports here. Brewers, recapping again, revisiting this, their epic weekends against the Texas Rangers. After getting swept by the Dodgers, Brew Crew bounce back and make a statement. Make a statement. Or is making a statement a little too strong of a phrase? What do you think? But nonetheless, it was impressive to go into Texas and sweep the Rangers, a team that has World Series goals, World Series aspirations this year, one of the top offenses in all of Major League Baseball. But for the Crew to come in and take that series, to sweep that series, it is definitely worthy of a stud performance too. It is absolutely worthy of a stud performance. You go back to Friday night's game. It was a 9-8 victory. How many of you, though, were getting a little nervous? Raise your hand, class, if you were getting a little nervous there in the ninth, because Brewers were up 9-4. And then like that, it was 9-8 and getting a little bit worried. Could the Brewers lose the game? But they close it out. They got the job done. Woodruff started the game. No decision for him. 5 1/3. 4 earned runs, a couple of home runs given up there. But Brewers were able to lock it out. Chafin struggling a little bit, 3 earned runs. Devin Williams had to come in and pick up his 29th save of the season. So then Saturday nights, Brewers, we talked a little bit about him. Freddie Peralta, guy's been pitching incredibly well, extremely well as of late. And then Saturday, he picked up his 10th win, going 5 2/3, giving up 1 earned run and striking out 11. Freddie Peralta lowering his ERA to under 4 and is now officially at a 3.97. And then yesterday, going up against Scherzer. I don't know if anybody else had this mindset, but I kind of did. It's like, all right, so you win your first 2 against Texas. Max Scherzer's coming in. No offense, but Adrian Hauser's the pitcher for the Brewers. I kind of already had the mindset. It's like it's going to be one of those games that we've seen a lot when it comes to like baseball. It's like, okay, Texas is going to win this one. They're going to avoid being swept. They've got Scherzer on the mound. Brewers have their 5th starter. It's in Texas. It just kind of felt like it was going to be a Texas win, but pump the brakes. Credit to Adrian Hauser for going out there and pitching a great game, and the offense for giving him some run support over there. And the Brewers picked up a 6-2 victory, handing Scherzer a loss. Hauser picking up his 5th win of the season to improve to 5-4. That was just a fantastic weekend for the Crew. And then you had, we talked a little bit about it last hour, but Willy Adames collecting some hits. Santana, Tyrone Taylor, for crying out loud. You know, especially Santana and Willy Adames, 2 guys that we would really like to see, you know, kind of be more consistent in the middle of that lineup and providing some more protection for the top hitters of a Yelich and a Contreras. Hopefully this is something that Willy Adames and Santana can kind of use and build upon and just be a little bit more consistent as we finish up this final quarter of the regular season. Now that we are officially in it, 37 games left to go in this regular season. Hopefully they can kind of catch on fire here a little bit, get in a little bit of a groove, help this team finish off this final month plus on a high note, on a positive note, and hopefully get into the postseason playing some of their best baseball and have that momentum and have that mojo going. I also want to give a shout out to Tyrone Taylor, though, too. Tyrone Taylor in his last 39 at-bats, he's hitting .333 and a couple of home runs. And if you want to kind of look at what he did this series against Texas, too, 5 total hits in 3 games. In 10 at-bats, 10 at-bats, 5 hits. Tyrone Taylor having a great series, too, against Texas. Different guys stepping up and helping lead the charge. So, easily a stud performance from the Brewers and quite a few of their players against Texas. Now, hopefully, this is just kind of a catapult, a step into getting some momentum now rolling before the postseason starts. Hopefully they can, win some more games and get that momentum going here, because we know when it's baseball, it's all about momentum, right? It's all about getting that momentum and getting into the postseason, playing hot baseball. Hopefully this off day won't cool them down here a little bit, though. 37 more games to go, though, right? I think that's what my math tells me. 37 to go here. Can the Brewers, who are sitting currently at 68 and 57, 68 and 57. So to get to 90 wins, can the Brewers win 22 of their final 37 games? Can they go 22 and 15? You know, what was it, last week, maybe a week and a half ago? I didn't think they'd get 90. But when you say 22 and 15, can the Brewers finish 22 and 15 with games against Minnesota? You got San Diego, you got the Cubbies, you got Philly, you got Pittsburgh, you got the struggling Yankees, you got Miami, Washington, St. Louis, Miami, St. Louis, and Cubbies. I think I'm kind of changing it now. I think they could potentially get to 90 wins. Now I know that's 90 wins doesn't get you a pennant or anything like that. It's just kind of a benchmark sort of thing. I think 90 wins is good enough to win this division. It's good enough to at least get in the postseason. But can the Brewers finish 22 and 15 to get to that 90? Right now, I think they can. Week and a half ago, week ago, I didn't think they were going to get to 90. Now I think they can. All right, tell you what, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll get back to some more football talk. What stood out to you from that game Saturday, or who stood out to you? Give me your scouting reports. All right, there's some good stuff. Also some poor stuff, but there was some good stuff from certain players. I want to hear that scouting report. Start letting me know. Text, comment on the video stream, tweet it, whatever works for you. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Dr. Logan Shepke from Shepke Chiropractic is joining me right now. And Logan, it sounds like you just want to give a nice thank you, shout out to some of your patients.
I do.
Out there.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The support we've had, going through the different stages of acquiring the Altoona office, and then now with the new child here. So really thankful for all the referrals that I've been receiving from patients or other medical providers, and the support from my existing patients. You guys have been awesome. So shout out to you guys.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And, looking at the calendar here quickly too, we got football coming up with those youngsters with camp. So it might be a good time to maybe make some appointments and get adjusted before camp.
Absolutely.
And even during football season.
Absolutely. All ages. Yeah. Get in, get yourself straight, and then hit it hard.
Yeah, definitely. And be safe out there too, right?
That's right.
Exactly. So again, big thank you to everybody who's stopped by to Shepke Chiropractic. And if you want to make an appointment, where do they go to?
ShepkeChiropractic.com.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union, the local Wisconsin team that's always rooting for you. Trade your broomsticks for bats and gloves on Friday, August 25th at Brewers Harry Potter Night, presented by Wintrust, Wisconsin's bank. With a special Harry Potter ticket, fulfill your destiny with a Hogwarts house-themed Brewers scarf. Get yours at brewers.com. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today.
So hot in here. Oh, is that what it's like in your living, dining, or any other room in your home or office? Then you need to talk with the experts at Auto Trim in Eau Claire. Yes, Auto Trim still does remote start, seat heaters, and other cool stuff for your vehicle, but they also do window tints for your home or auto. In fact, Auto Trim has been helping the Chippewa Valley for over 40 years. When it's so hot in here, in your home or office, you've got to call Auto Trim of Eau Claire for new window tinting. Make a difference in people's lives and get some exercise too. Register now for the Buckshot Run to support Special Olympics Wisconsin in the Chippewa Valley. The Buckshot Run is September 2nd in beautiful Carson Park. 2 and 5 mile course. Both courses are walk or run. And for your sustenance, stick around for the Batter's Box food truck. Support Special Olympics Wisconsin. Get healthy and have fun on September 2nd at Carson Park. Register today at buckshotrun.com.
I'm Tony Burrell, Superintendent of the Wisconsin State Patrol. Public safety is our primary mission. Every day, our troopers and inspectors work hard to keep people and commerce moving safely. But drivers need to do their part. That means following these simple rules. Buckle up, phones down, slow down. Thanks for helping us move towards 0 deaths on Wisconsin roads.
A life-saving message sponsored by the U.S. and Wisconsin DOTs.
What's something you can't get for $18.99? Supplies for one last camping trip. What's something you can get for $18.99? A month of unlimited car washes at Clean and Classy. Something you can't do in 5 minutes? Get that weird smell out of the camper. Something you can do in 5 minutes? Get a car that shines so nice. Clean and Classy on West Claremont and off Hastings on Brackett Avenue. Wash your car more than once a month? A monthly pass is going to save you money. Make your car clean and classy.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, August 25th, with the Cranky Buzzard. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Stand by as we continue our dig for the truth and the toy at the bottom of the cereal box.
Oh, got it.
The Dan Kasper Show.
Do you believe that everyone deserves a safe and decent place to call home? At Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity, they share this belief and work tirelessly to make it a reality. Chippewa Valley Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit organization dedicated to building homes and communities for families in need. With the help of generous donors, dedicated volunteers, and partnerships with local communities, they're able to bring hope and stability to those who need it most. Imagine the joy on a family's face as they step foot into their new home, a home that they've worked alongside volunteers to build. It's a life-changing moment that fills hearts with gratitude and hope for a brighter future. But they need your help. Whether you can spare your time, donate funds, or offer your skills, every contribution counts. Together, they can make a lasting impact. Be a part of something greater than yourself. Visit cvh4h.org or stop by the Restore to learn more. Together, let's build homes, build hope, and build a better future for families in need, because everyone deserves a place to call home. All right. Let's got college football games starting this weekend too. Badgers don't start until the second coming up here, but we got some games. We got Navy taking on Notre Dame, USC, San Jose State, Ohio taking on San Diego State. So college football season officially getting underway, coming up on is it Saturday, the first game with Navy and Notre Dame up there. So it's here, it's coming. So, but 12 days away before the Badgers kick off against Buffalo. So, but this is going to be the final week here for some of these Packer players to make final impressions on their general manager and their coaching staff to make a case that they should be given a spot on the roster, a spot on the 53-man roster. This is the week to do it. Final game coming up on Saturday against Seattle. A couple more practices leading up to that. No, they got a week after that. The cut deadline is coming up around that Labor Day weekend over there. So, I mean, this is a big week for some of these players coming up here. So, with the game last Saturday, I'm asking you to put on your scouting caps here a little bit. Who stood out to you, or what stood out to you? Either maybe a positive or a negative from Saturday's game. And second part here is, with the final week here, what position group do you think is mostly still up in the air? That there's still a little bit of uncertainty surrounding it. You know, I'm kind of revisiting a discussion we had in the first hour here a little bit. You know, I threw out a few players that I thought stood out positively in that game on Saturday. One of them was Rasheed Walker. Now, Rasheed Walker, you started to hear his name a little bit more. He was getting more reps in practice leading up to that game, getting more reps with the ones over at left tackle. Seems like now he has overtaken the backup left tackle spot that Yash Nyman officially, or I guess Yash Nyman had for the longest time. Now it seems like it's Rasheed Walker's job. And it seems like Yash Nyman is going to be the full-on backup right tackle. And Walker, you got to give the kid credit. Second year was at a Northwestern, 7th-round pick. Was in last year, I believe, off the top of my head there. Guy's been playing well, and he's been getting better and better. And right now, he was given an opportunity, and he's run away with it. And I know I've been a guy that's been saying for a while now that I think Yash Nyman's going to be the starting left tackle for the Packers starting next year. But right now, it looks like it's Rasheed Walker, possibly kind of in the running for that next year. Not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but Rasheed Walker, guy that I think has now solidified his spot as that backup left tackle for the green and gold. One guy who I thought really jumped out in the game Saturday, Kingsley, JJ, whatever you're calling him. Some writers, some people call him JJ by his nickname. Some still call him Kingsley. Enoch Barre, the edge rusher, second-year man. Got a lot of playing time last year after Rashawn Gary went down due to injury. But he had himself a game Saturday. Couple sacks, forced fumble recovery. Given his growth from that year 1, year 2 jump, and Matt LaFleur talked a little bit about it yesterday in his presser, about seeing those guys take that jump from year 1 to year 2. Enoch Barre, and I know it's just preseason and it's just training camp. We'll see how, if it kind of does the same in the regular season. But you kind of have to wonder now with the play with Kingsley is, how do you get him some reps? You gotta find him, you gotta keep getting him on the field though, don't you? Yeah, Matt LaFleur, his quote about Kingsley, he's had a really solid camp. It's fun to watch the jump some of those guys make from year 1 to year 2. I think he has solidified his spot as the number 3 edge rusher. And we know Green Bay likes to rotate in edge rushers. One series, they'll start off with their starters of Rashawn and Preston. Then, next series they'll come in with some fresher guys, new guys over there. Kingsley, to me, is that number 3 edge rusher right now. And I think his role is going to be a little bit more important now, too, because if he is that number 3 guy, and if they go with a basic rotation to try to keep those guys fresh and factoring in, Rashawn Gary still coming back from an ACL injury, he's going to be a week 1 starter in that. He's already activated in that a while ago, but might have a little bit of a rust to knock off. I think Kingsley's role is bigger this year, and his performance is a little bit more important. Like what we're seeing from Kingsley in camp and training camp and what we saw on Saturday night's game, kind of hoping that's what you're going to get from him during the regular season, because I think when you factor in Rashawn Gary might have some rust, and if they do go with that rotation, he might be paired up with Lucas Van Ness. And Van Ness is a rookie still. He's got some growing to do. He did have a better game on Saturday than his first one, but there's a little bit more pressure on Kingsley to get after that quarterback, to be a solid pass rusher if he's going to be paired up with the rookie. So it was a fantastic game from him, and easily, Pro Football Focus rated him as the highest rated defender for the Packers, and probably will be one of the highest. I haven't looked at all the grades across the league, but I would imagine one of the highest graded defensive players all across the league from his performance on Saturday. Malik Heath, another great game from him. The first game, against Cincinnati, it was kind of highlighted with his block, with the safety out of bounds. He made a couple nice catches in that. In camp, he's been impressing. This game was about his receiving, though. 5 catches on 5 targets, over 70-some yards. Contested catches over there, too. Took some hits. To me, Malik Heath is, when you look at building your roster of your 53, to me, he's a top 53 player on this squad. I think he's one of the 53 best players on this Packers team. And when I look at this wide receiving depth for Green Bay, we know it's Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed. I think those are your 3 locks. Samori Torres probably next. I think he makes the team, but I don't know if I'm ready to say lock yet. So you might have like 2 more spots if you keep 6 wide receivers, right? Malik Heath, to me, deserves one of those spots. I don't care he's an undrafted free agent. I don't care. The guy has looked like one of the top 6 wide receivers all throughout camp, and he's displayed that in these games. And I thought he had another great game on Saturday. And a guy that, I'm not going to go through every single player here. There's other guys who had great games too. Carl Brooks had a fantastic game. To me, the defensive line it's set in stone. I think they're carrying 5, and I think they already got their 5. Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, the 2 rookies. Those 2 rookies, late round picks, been having really good camps. Carl Brooks had a really good game. And I know LaFleur, again, kind of mentioned that, hey, they got to get some snaps for they got to figure out ways to get Brooks into some games in the regular season, too. Get him on the field. And he's been nice in run defense, which we all know is an improvement that the Packers defense has to make this year, is stopping the run, being consistent and stopping the run. And if Carl Brooks is going to be one of your more consistent guys and helping stop the run, get him on the field, for crying out loud, okay? Get him on the field. But considering, your base is a 3-4, but how many teams, nickel's kind of like the new base for a lot of these teams. Packers, I think, what was the number around? 75% last year. Ran nickel 75% of the time, 2 down linemen. You're probably carrying 5 on your 53. And to me, that position, locked at 5. Carl Brooks had a good game. Colby Wooden's had a good training camp. Solid, great training camp, too. But another guy you gotta give credit to, who's been under the microscope, been under a lot of fire, and I believe rightfully so for his performance. But I had one big play, and that's Anders Carlson, the kicker. Goody earlier in the week, doubling down, sticking with Carlson. Sure sounds like they're not bringing in a veteran. Maybe that mindset would have changed if Anders performed poorly on Saturday night. But in that 2-minute drill before the half, set up for a 52-yard field goal, guy nails it. Nailed his extra point kicks too. May not seem like a whole lot, but considering the position that he was kind of in heading into this game and where the kicking game was at, that's a win. Now you just hope it's like a confidence booster for the kid. There's going to be times throughout this regular season, probably more times than we're comfortable with. It's going to be an up and down season with the kicking game. And I think it's just going to have to be one of those situations where it's going to be hard for us. We're going to have to be patient. There's going to be a long leash. And Goody mentioned that in his presser earlier in the week, late last week. He used the example of the long leash that Mason had with Ted. Or Ted had a long leash with Mason. And we know there was a couple times where Mason went through some really tough stretches. And probably under normal circumstances or any other teams, Mason would have been cut. He would have been gone. But Ted was patient. Ted Thompson was patient, stuck with him. And Mason ended up bouncing back. Now, that is obviously a difference between a guy who's been around and has a lot of experience like Mason was at those certain points in time. But considering Anders is a rookie, Green Bay's going to stay with him. They're going to be patient with him. They're going to go into the season, and it's going to be nerve-wracking. It's probably going to be a lot of hair-pulling moments. But you might as well start mentally preparing for that right now. But you got to give him credit. He had a solid performance on Saturday night. Which leads into a very big week right now for some of these guys who are on the bubble, roster bubble. This week and the final game on Saturday, the final chance for some of these players to make a case to win a job. And for some of these players, this is the final time that they'll ever put on a football uniform. This is their last week of trying to achieve their dream. So when I look at this current ball club, to me, there are 4 obvious positions that are still kind of up in the air or where jobs could be on the line. And I think the easy one out there is safety yet. Nobody has ran away with the other starting job next to Darnell Savage. Nobody has ran away with that other spot. We've seen Rudy Ford get snaps. We've seen Jonathan Owen get snaps. We've seen Tarvarius Moore get snaps over there. Anthony Johnson Jr. made a good play Saturday. Followed it up by taking a bad angle on the touchdown catch. Up and down, rookie, 7th-round pick. But he's kind of making maybe a push to keep him on the 53-man. But the thing is, with this safety group, you're keeping what? 4, maybe 5 guys on there? One's already locked up with Darnell Savage. Another one's already there with Dallin Levitt. They're keeping him because of special teams. So that's 2. You might have only 2, possibly 3 spots left at safety between Jonathan Owens, Rudy Ford, Tarvarius Moore, and Anthony Johnson Jr. Now, Anthony Johnson Jr. possibly could be a practice squad candidate. But definitely, I think this week and that game on Saturday against Seattle is a big week for those safeties to make one final push. And for anybody who says, one preseason game won't make the difference for some of these guys, tell that to Desmond Howard. Desmond Howard won that kick return job because of his final preseason game. J-Ron Elliott, remember J-Ron Elliott a few years ago? Had a great last preseason game, made the team. It can happen. It's that final candle in the cave. It's that final piece to the puzzle. Some of these players can win a job with the performance that they'll have on Saturday, with the performance that they'll have this week in practice, this final week here. And that's especially true when it comes to these safeties. Who's going to have the upper hand when it's all said and done? I have no good gauge right now on who it's going to be, to be honest with you. I have no good gauge on who it's going to be. I really don't. I mean, it seems like Owens has gotten most snaps. Rudy Ford was taking third-team snaps in practice, but then he was with the ones in the game. It's kind of been all over the place. They really have made this a rotation with this safety group. But, man, I think it's still up in the air at this point. So this is a huge game coming up on Saturday for these guys. Next on my list, I'd look at that interior offensive line, the backups for the interior offensive line. Your starting 5 is set. There is some, me personally, maybe not for the Packers essentially anymore, but Myers at center, with that bad snap. There were rumblings. We saw Zach Tom taking reps over there, but I think they're settled on their 5. Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, Myers, John Runyon Jr., Zach Tom. You're starting 5. I think they're settled on their backup tackles. Rasheed Walker, Josh Nijman. That's 7. Carrying maybe around 9. Sometimes we've seen 10. Sometimes we've even seen as little as 8. But I think, especially with Bakhtiari's knee injury and still trying to, manage that, I'd be nervous only carrying 8 offensive linemen. So let's kind of split the difference and say, let's say they carry 9. I wouldn't be surprised if they carry 10, but let's say they carry 9. So 2 more spots. I'm looking at the interior offensive line then at that point. Who are the guys that are going to win that backup interior offensive line? Can Hansen stay healthy? Sorry, but the guy seems like he gets banged up a lot. Can he stay healthy? Can Sean Ryan get a job over there? 2nd-round pick last year, 3rd-round pick last year? Is he going to get a job? Royce Newman's got a lot of playing experience, but he has been very inconsistent. More times, I don't know if he's played his way to win a job, but factoring in everything else on there, he might get it. He might win a job. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of reps. Played a little bit better on Saturday night. Didn't have a great game first game. Played a little bit better on the second game, but he's got all that experience from starting games and such in his rookie year. I think that helps him. And I think when you look at the depth of that interior offensive line, that's going to help him. But I'm looking at that interior O and be like, okay, who's going to be the 2 guys potentially that are going to step up and win those jobs? Third on my list, I was talking about Malik Heath. I look at the wide receivers. I think you've got 3 locks. Watson, Dobbs, Jaden Reed. Samari Torrey's probably my 4th on my depth chart. I'm not ready to give him a lock status yet. So if that's your 4, you're probably looking at 2 more spots. To me, Malik Heath deserves one of those spots, so maybe 1 more. Dontavian Wicks, I think, would be the 6th. He had a hamstring injury in the other game. You hope that doesn't alter it. Could that open the door for a guy like Grant DeBose, who missed the first game, but has impressed Matt LaFleur apparently? Could he make a late push? 7th-round guy. He may be more suited for a practice squad this year, but I think, could there be a Bo Melton who missed time? Guys like him. Coaches like him. Is there one of these other receivers that could make a push for that potentially final spot on the depth chart? If it were for me right now, if my top 6, assuming that Wicks's hamstring injury isn't anything significant, my top 6 is already there. Watson, Romeo, Reed, Samari, Malik, and Dontavian. There's your 6. But could somebody like a Grant DeBose go in there and make a push? Maybe. Big week for him. Big game coming up for him. And then my 4th one, I'm looking at the corners. And I think it sure looks like right now, at least, Eric Stokes is going to start the season on the PUP list. I would have thought they would have activated him by now, that he'd be getting some practice in. And I know we talked a little bit about last week, maybe the emergence of Carrington Valentine has kind of slowed that process where they don't have to push it essentially. But it kind of seems like they're going to start him unless they activate him this week or such. Because if they activate him, then they're going to carry him on the 53. If they don't take him off the PUP list, then they can open the season with him on the PUP list, miss a few weeks. You can't take him off. You can't activate him and put him back on the PUP. So it feels like they're going to open up the season with him on the PUP list. That opens up a spot on the corners. And the corner one is a little interesting because, well, one, we know Jair's duh. Whether Rasul actually is safety or not is still up in the air. We're going to count him as a corner right now. Keyshawn Nixon is a corner. I still believe, I know Carrington Valentine had an up and down game, more so down Saturday. He's got his spot. I don't care he's a 7th rounder. I don't care he's a rookie. He's got a spot. So that's your 4 right now. That's your 4 spots or your 4 corners. You're probably carrying 6, maybe, depending on other positions, how they factor in your group, maybe 7, but that's a lot. So who are those other ones? Is it a Keandre Thomas who had a good game Saturday? Can Jean Charles crack the roster again this year? I think for those final 2 spots, it might come down to who are the better special teams players, who performs better at special teams with those final 2 corner spots. But that's something they're going to keep an eye on in this final game. Not necessarily just watching offense and defense all the time, but watching those punts, watching those returns. Who are the guys that are getting down there and making plays down the field, making those tackles? If it's those corners, that's what potentially could get them on the roster. So when I look at the corners, I'm looking at potentially, you're looking at maybe a couple of jobs that are still up there. Is it a Thomas? Is it a Jean Charles? Could it be someone else? But I think there's a couple spots potentially still open right now. And if I were to add a 5th in there, could Pat O'Donnell actually be cut? Could Daniel Whalen win the punting job? The downfall that would be with him is that, in practice, we're hearing or we're seeing, if you've been there, these booming hang time punts. Haven't necessarily seen that transition to the games yet in these preseason games. But he got more opportunities Saturday night. He was the holder for Anders on his 52-yarder. Since the Packers are going with a little bit more of a youth movement, younger movement with these younger guys, could they potentially go that route with the punter? It wouldn't surprise me at all. Or would they go with the established veteran? You know what you're going to get with Pat O'Donnell, and maybe he can also help a young rookie kicker. If it were me, I'd rather have Pat O'Donnell. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go with a younger punter either. That would probably be my 5th if I added a 5th one on there of what to watch. All right, let's take our final break here this morning. Then we are going to wrap up things, wrap up shop on this Monday morning. We'll be back after these quick words.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
Get ready to save half with half-off deals. It's a great way for you to get goods and services that you will love, and you don't have to pay full price. Start saving this Friday, August 25th, with the Cranky Buzzard. Be ready with your credit or debit card and get ready to save with this week's half-off deals. For more details and to find out about all the savings, just go to aroundthe715.com.
Jim Gaffigan here with some more Straight Talk. Let's take a moment to appreciate our sweet children, loving grandparents, and eternal soulmates. Now let's use them to save money on wireless. Because with the Straight Talk Silver Plan, you get 4 lines for just $25 a month with unlimited data and no contracts. So add those human pawns, loved ones, and save money. Thanks, kids. They're finally worth it. Straight Talk Wireless, available at Walmart.
Get 4 lines on Silver Unlimited for $25 per line per month, plus taxes and fees. For data management practices and additional terms, visit straighttalk.com.
Today's job market is full of demand for skilled trade workers. Electricians, welders, mechanics, these and other trades are the backbone of every community. They're also a huge part in making sure the Army National Guard is always fulfilling its mission of service to our country and communities. Soldiers train to keep the power flowing, engines running, and supplies moving. The skilled trades these soldiers perform are the same ones needed in today's civilian workforce. Army National Guard soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. With options from plumber to helicopter mechanic and everything in between, soldiers are able to select the trades that best fit their lives. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession and serve your community and country by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
The all-new Nissan Ariya is a fully loaded EV. It's brimming with style and power,
Up to 389 horses of it.
innovation, and intelligence.
E-Force all-wheel drive.
It'll pin you to your seat.
Your very plush seat.
The all-new, all-electric Nissan Ariya. E-Force cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. E-Force and 389 horsepower available on Platinum Plus. Nissan calculation using 1-foot rollout testing with long-range battery and E-Force only in sport mode with E-Step off. These results are for comparison only and should not be attempted on public roads. Drive responsibly. See nissanusa.com for details.
If you're like me and want sun, fun, and savings all in one in your final weeks of summer shopping, you've got to hurry to Kohl's. I just checked out their biggest clearance event of the season and was able to save up to 85% plus an extra 50% on sunny day essentials for the beach, backyard, and beyond. So what are you waiting for? Get to Kohl's and bring home the coolest finds for the hottest deals. You'll thank me later. Select styles. Offer ends August 22nd. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
Hey there, smart shoppers. Get ready to experience the ultimate grocery adventure at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. From fresh produce to gourmet delights, Hy-Vee is your go-to destination for quality and variety. Explore their aisles brimming with everything you need. Whether it's a family feast or a quick snack, they've got you covered. Every aisle is an adventure and good taste. And if you need a cold beverage afterwards, stop by the bar at Wahlburgers to quench that thirst. Shop smart, shop happy, shop Hy-Vee. Elevate your shopping game at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire today.
The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help troubleshoot the likely cause of your pesky check engine light for free and get you back on the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Want the latest insight and analysis on your favorite green and gold football team? Check out the Green and Gold Chalk Talk video series hosted by Dan Kasper with new episodes each week on YouTube.
Hey there, smart shoppers. Get ready to experience the ultimate grocery adventure at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. From fresh produce to gourmet delights, Hy-Vee is your go-to destination for quality and variety. Explore their aisles brimming with everything you need, whether it's a family feast or a quick snack. They've got you covered. Every aisle is an adventure in good taste. And if you need a cold beverage afterwards, hey, stop by the bar by Wahlburgers to quench that thirst of yours. Grab a Man Cave Lights to quench that thirst of yours over there. Shop smart, shop happy, shop Hy-Vee. Elevate your shopping game at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Wrapping things up, no Brew Crew game tonight. They get the off day before they take on the Minnesota Twins tomorrow in Milwaukee for 2 games. But a quick look at how Major League Baseball the standings are right now. Atlanta, 80 wins, 80-43 right now. Easily the top team in the National League. The Dodgers, though, continuing to play some really good baseball. They're sitting there at 76-47. Milwaukee 68-57, the third most wins in the National League. Your wild card teams as of now is Philly, San Francisco, and the Cubs. But Arizona, Cincinnati, Miami all just one game back. If you're looking at the American League, Baltimore still holding on to the AL East over there. Texas still holding on to the West even after getting swept by the Brewers. Minnesota holding on to the AL Central by 6 games over the Cleveland Guardians, 65-60 for your Minnesota Twins there. Your wild card teams as of now, Tampa Bay, 75-51 Houston. And Houston, I mean, they couldn't take advantage with Texas getting swept by the Brewers. Houston losing their last 3 too. They couldn't overtake Texas for the division there. But Seattle has moved into a wild card spot after being winners of 6 in a row. Toronto just a half game out. Boston 3 games out. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've also won their last 3 in a row. So with 37 games left to go here for the Brewers, what do you think that magic number is? What do you think that magic number is for the Brewers where you would feel good about them getting in the postseason? They're at 68 wins right now. Do you think, is it 90? Can they get 22 more wins in their final 37, 22-15? Is it 90? I'll be honest, it was a week and a half ago or so. I didn't think they'd get to 90. I was thinking, okay, about 86, 87, somewhere around there. But if you told me the Brewers go 22-15 in their final 37, I don't think that's that far off. It's only 7 games over 500 there. So I don't think that's too far out of the realm. But what do you think that magic number is? What is that magic number if you had to put a number? Think about it for a little bit and then let me know tomorrow. Okay, we'll save that. That's your homework assignment for tomorrow. What do you think that magic number is for the Crew? And then we'll hit up a quick preview of their game one of this 2-game series. Tomorrow we got Wade Miley, who's going to be on the mound for the Crew for the first game against the Twins. And then Corbin Burns is slated to get the start for Wednesday's game. Then another quick off day for the Brewers before they welcome the Padres to town in Milwaukee. So do they have? Okay, they got the TBDs yet for the pitching assignments over there. But we'll preview that game. First game coming up tomorrow. Talked a lot of green and gold here this morning. Final-ish week here. I know they still will do some practicing after their final preseason game on Saturday, but this is the big week for those players on the roster bubble, trying to win a job, trying to continue their dream or chasing their dream of being a professional football player. So last chance for some of these guys to make good impressions for their bosses, right? Tomorrow, we'll also catch up with RJ Cardinal as we inch closer and closer, 12 days away from kickoff for the Badger football program, although we do have some college football starting this weekend, Navy, Notre Dame, Ohio. I know we got some peeps who have some Ohio connections, not Ohio State, Ohio Bobcats. They get started off this weekend too. So, but we'll touch on some college stuff with Mr. RJ Cardinal starting tomorrow. So we'll hit that up. Plus, tomorrow is also a Grind My Gears Tuesday. So what's been grinding your gears? I want some good ones tomorrow, all right? So think about it, and that's your other homework assignment too, is give me some good Grind My Gears. Get something off your chest, all right? Just think about that, and you can even, if you know what it is right now, just text it to me, and I'll save it for tomorrow, okay? Get it. We're here. Get it off your chest, all right? So, but we'll get to all those coming up tomorrow. Shot clock's going to cut me off here in just a few seconds here. So, but we'll catch up on all that stuff tomorrow. A lot of you text in really quick, just kind of going over a lot of text. Safety is still your number one. Safety is still your number one thing. So that you're still looking for in this final game. DP and the Danettes are up next. Have yourself a fantastic Monday, rest of your Monday. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, just past 6. Talk to you then.